Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 99 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Adam and Chris from Denial Print Co. in Pennsylvania. Let's go! Shirt show!
Holy shit, he's back.
Hey,
Hey there.
hey, check.
Is it working? You got a hoodie on. Is it cold there?
You know, it is a chill, rainy Sunday in
Really?
in STL, and
It's so beautiful here.
I've had so much fun in the sun that it's actually, honestly, it's perfect. So don't mind it. Don't mind it at all. I'll take it.
It's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like a pretty day there or something.
It's like 78 degrees out and sunny.
What'd you do? Did you stay inside, play video games?
Yeah, I stayed inside all day. Kept the windows shut.
Cool.
Me and the kids were out all day. Went on bike rides and went to the lake, and I literally just got back. So I was thinking I might be late to this.
Well, it's good that you're not, because I am I'm recharged. I am reset and ready to return.
New and
That's a lot
improved
of-
Andy, huh?
A lot of ours. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's improved or new, but
It's improved.
same.
I'm happy
So
for you.
well, thank you. So how was your week?
It was pretty good. I helped my dad a lot. We got the new roll-up door put in for the trailers.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
yeah. And then I just ordered all the lumber today for the decking, and it's expensive.
So you're going to put a deck on the back where you can barbecue and like have some
We
parties
already
and
have.
things like that.
We already have that.
Oh,
So this is the decking that goes out to the trailers, and then we got to put a roof over it so that we can pallet jack directly into the trailers from our current building.
Yeah.
And then we just had a normal work week. Nothing too crazy. Weather started to get better, and then it's supposed to snow on Wednesday.
Why do that happens to us in St. Louis too. Like it'll do this for a minute, like be perfect day, and then the next day snow or whatever, cold weather.
It's supposed to
and the next
snow
day,
and then
perfect.
come back up, and it's gonna be like
Mhm.
55 for like a week straight. So
Well,
tell
At
me
least you
about your week, bud.
well, I didn't do any work. Well, that's not true. So I do some work when I'm away. I don't normally, like this time. I did. It wasn't like it was one of those where you're totally away and just say, not looking at emails, not looking at, not talking to anybody from the team, but that's pretty tough to do. I think, I don't know, I probably put in like maybe 2 hours a day at the most, an hour of the day sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and because stuff happens, like sometimes there's questions.
Yeah.
Look, I'm the boss. Like I am a firefighter. Basically,
You don't have to justify it to me. I get it.
I think if you Google boss, I think it might say firefighter.
Mm.
But check this out. So on our drive back, so we drove on to our destination,
Mm-hmm.
and on our drive back, which is a long drive, like, I do it in like 10 something hours. The normal person, it would take way, way longer. Because we not only are we going at a high rate of speed, but we don't stop. We stopped one time for potty and gas and Panda Express, actually. But 5 minutes before home, flat tire.
Seriously?
And we're driving along, and the indicator comes on, and it says, like there was this noise,
pressure.
bing, like bing, and then it says you have low tire pressure, and I'm like, that's probably wrong. Like, and I'm doing this as we're flying at like Mach 12, and I'm like, no, it feels good to me. I was like, Jojo, I think if there was a flat, it would go like, it would wobble a lot. Right.
And then it's immediately after that, you see a video of the car launching through the air, flipping
end over end.
Yeah.
No, it actually didn't do any of that. And then as we slowed down and came off onto our exit to our house, I'm like, man, it is kind of feeling funny. And then we get a little bit further and the car is actually tilted down toward, it's the front right and it's tilted down towards the front right.
Front
I
tire
go, fuck.
way worse.
I think, yeah, you want it to not be a front tire at all. But I was like, fuck, I think we do have one. So I pulled into the gas station, got out, and sure enough, flat as shit. And so there was air there, filled it up enough to get the rest of the way home. So I don't have to like change, the tire right there or anywhere else. And this, Dylan, this is the perfect segue to my first installment of, and Chad's going to have to put some like dope sound effects in here, like explosions.
Okay.
Andy's rules for life.
Oh God. All right.
So, rule number 1, I don't know. No. There's like, these aren't in order or anything like that. So I don't know. So maybe rule number 42, this is, I'm not really sure.
You should just make up a number every time.
Yeah. Never, ever change a flat on the side of a highway. Do whatever you can to nurse your car, vehicle, SUV, van, whatever you've got. Do whatever you can to get to the next exit and either call AAA or whatever you've got or change it there. Because I had a friend once that I was like in my early, maybe mid-20s, and he was changing a flat on the side of a highway. Somebody ran into them. The person he was with died, and he was actually kneeling down, like squatting down towards like at the rear of the car, that where the tire, changing the tire. And he has a plate in his head. He almost died. He was like in the hospital for a month. Plate in his head, plate in his hip, plate in his leg, plates everywhere.
He's a full dinner set now.
Right. But dude, it's so dangerous. And instead of, true, it could cost you a new rim, but it's a super dangerous situation. It could cost you your life. So there you go. Andy's rule number 42.
Andy's ultra bummer intro.
Rule for life is don't change a flat on the side of a highway. Too dangerous.
Okay.
All right, buddy. I'm just
If
looking
possible.
out for you. I'm looking out for other shops out there because, or whoever might be listening, because it is like Joanne is not allowed. If she ever gets a flat,
just pull over and run into the woods. That's what you tell Joanne to do.
That's actually probably safer. It probably is safer.
Just keep running.
So I think we all know that you are in New York, and that's where the Big Apple is. But do you know where Minneapolis is? Do you?
You just ruined the joke.
No. Do you know where Minneapolis is?
Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Cool. Good. Cool.
You like that one?
Yeah. How do you surprise a blind man?
I think I got like the last joke you said. And so we're going to wait here
Until you get
as long as it takes. Yes. Until I get this. And so,
Okay.
I don't know.
Leave a plunger in the toilet.
That sounds like something I have done.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you get my Minneapolis joke?
Yeah,
You don't,
got
do you?
it. Yeah.
I don't think you did. That's okay. I didn't get the first time I read it. I was like, what the fuck? I don't get it. That doesn't make sense. It's a stupid joke.
It's just an Andy joke. It's okay.
Did you get one of these guys?
Yeah.
I won't shake it. It is an envelope from AKT in Orlando, Florida. And
Jared?
the contents of it are some stickies. And he just like, this guy just keeps sending us stuff. I don't know about you, but me.
He's a good man.
I told him, I texted him not to send you anything, but he is a good man. Here's the first thing right there. Boom.
Some flamage.
Flamage. AKT flameage, and then we've got this
In shirts we trust.
in shirts or hoodies, because that's what I'm a full zip. That's what I'm wearing today.
I put that on my laptop case.
He sent me several of these, so I know you said this is wasting it, but
Oh, don't. Oh, it's such a waste.
why is it a waste? I'm staying on here forever.
No, it's not. You're going to immediately peel it off when you get home and throw it in a garbage can.
I would never do that to Jared.
Yes, you are.
I would never do that to AKT. So look at that. It's just like a very thick plastisol print.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of how you print stuff, basically.
Right. Thanks,
So,
bud.
You like that?
I love
Nice
I love
swag.
It. Yep.
All right. Well, you got anything else to talk about before we get into our friends, the sponsors?
Not really, man. I'm pretty chill right now. Just hanging.
You look chill. You look fantastic, by the way.
Thanks.
It looks like you got a little bit of sun, a little vitamin D.
A little bit.
Did you get a little D?
I got so much D this weekend.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Are you good and recharged and pumped for work tomorrow?
I just said all of the R's. Yes. Recharged, repumped, what else did I say? Reset. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of those things.
Okay.
I'm renewed.
I wish you were. Renewed.
Nude. Yeah. So hey, you told me you got a new bike, and did you take that out this weekend?
Hell yeah, I did. I rode it today and yesterday.
You teach your kids how to like bunny hop and things like that?
Yeah, me and Libby went for a ride around town today. She did good.
Mm-hmm.
She stopped at all the intersections and looked both ways and used her brakes downhill.
The front brake?
Yeah, I told her just shove a stick in the spokes as it's going. It's the best way to stop.
I mean, you got to teach your kids lessons, and sometimes you teach them ones they'll never forget. And that's one right there. Grayson
and Libby were out front yesterday at the shop, and we have the handicap ramp that goes like down, and you can run the like dock up here that goes to the whole front of the building. And Grayson was like, "Hey, I'll start at the top of the ramp with his scooter," and Libby like start on the ramp, like up on the walkway, and like race to the end of the building. He fucking got to the bottom of the ramp, and his handlebar hit the side of the building, and just twisted his handlebars, and he went over the handlebars.
Oh no!
And my son likes to be like over dramatic about certain things, and dude, it was so like I was trying not to laugh, but I had to like laugh at least a little bit. Like he fucking fell. And like, like he had the usual like road rash, like put his hands down. So he had like cuts on his hand, but his knee, I mean, it actually was pretty gnarly. Like he had a lot of skin missing on his knee, like chunks, but like he fell and he started to yell. But then as soon as he saw his knee, it was like straight up out of a cartoon. He was like, ah! Like the loudest, most blood curdling scream ever. And I was like, dude, like, that's all I said. I was like, dude, fucking relax. Like it was so obnoxious. I know it hurt, but like, come on, like, fuck. And then I just dadded him, and I was like, "It's fine. It doesn't hurt. Walk it off."
Did you kiss it and make it feel better?
Yeah, I licked all the blood off of it and then put a Band-Aid on it. But yeah, I cleaned up the wound, put fucking ointment on it and Band-Aids, and
you're such a good dad.
And I said, "Hey, let's go to the park anyway. You got to walk that shit off."
Mm-hmm. That's
so
true.
We ended up going anyway, and he walked it off.
All right. Well, I'm glad he's okay, man. Glad
he's
that
fine.
You administered first aid.
Right.
And
I told him chicks dig scars. So you want to talk about our beautiful sponsors? Frank?
I do. I want to talk about Frank. He texted me over the week and just check in and make sure I was doing okay. What a guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love him to death.
Frank. Trying to get me.
We've got this down. I think this is episode 99. And we've got a very special episode 100 coming up. And I hope it's not locked in, but we need to lock it in.
I have a plan for next week too.
Okay. Are you going to share it with me? Because you have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, a lot of times you know,
I'm gonna
you
try to
share
do
plans.
something. I'm gonna try to do something a little special
Okay.
for old 100.
Well, listen, people, they don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. And so
And I'm a planner, so
you're a planner. And Dylan, it all starts with the screen. And whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com. FFFFF.
rank.com.
I don't know why I can't count to 5, but I just fucking
I
can't.
don't know. It's okay. Me neither.
Or
Greatfuckingscreens.com.
I think I might have. It doesn't matter. We're doing good here. We are doing fucking good.
Yes, we are.
Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will help you keep your screens, your face, and your shop clean.
Don't put it on your face.
I think you can. Like I knew somebody that put it on their hands to go like this, and they would just, wash up their hands. If they got, here, look, sometimes it gets a little messy and you get some ink on your face and your hair and you just use a little 701.
Don't put 701 on your face.
Well, we'll see. I'm gonna let Alex. I'm gonna actually text him and I'm gonna ask him and then we'll find out. Okay.
Can I put 701 on my face?
Yeah. So check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest way.
Texting Alex now on a Sunday. I'm sure he appreciates that. He's like, come on, dude, guys, like really. Oh, that's right. I don't have on my phone. Every time I type in search for Alex, ALEX, nothing shows up because I have him in as ALEXXX.
Perfect.
Action Engineering makes all kinds of accessories printers need. Go to actionengineering.com to have a look and then use the shirt show at checkout and get a one-time discount of
15% off.
Yeah, you got to say it because people, they listen.
I was doing
now.
both.
Well, that looks like 51. First of all, you get 51% off.
Fuck yeah, you do.
Of your order. Monarch Color makes ink that does what it's supposed to do. You'll learn more at monarchcolor.com. Ink better, print better, be better.
Live Moss.
Monarch. Look at that. Still
I was
on.
gonna send you one of my tees, my Monarch color chart tees, just for you.
You were going to, or you are going to?
I am going to. You're going to be the only one.
Okay, he answered me back.
He said, absolutely not.
He said negative ghostwriter.
Because that's what you'll look like as Ghost Rider.
And he says, are you an idiot? He didn't say that part.
Yeah, he did.
He said he wouldn't use any solvent in this industry to do that. Pumas. I guess you're supposed to use shoes. That's weird. So you're supposed to use your pumice soap is much better.
Puma's soap.
Yeah. Or you can use the my favorite cologne, Black
Brute?
Panther. Yeah, Brute.
If you didn't use Brute as a teenage boy, you got problems.
I used Polo. That was my very
You
first.
fucking would.
I would. Yeah, I fucking would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know. I know too.
You and your fucking Abercrombie sweatshirt.
I had an Abercrombie t-shirt and I didn't purchase it. I made it. I told you this before. You never listen. White t-shirt. I'm pretty sure it was probably a Fruit of Loom 5930. For those of you that don't know, because I don't think they make that anymore. It's a 50-50. And I took a Sharpie and I went Abercrombie. And dude, it people loved it. They always
It
would.
didn't last very long. The girls shredded it trying to get it off of you.
But non-corporation answer. This probably shouldn't be aired. Alex says he has done it though. He says it will pull oils from your skin, but if you wash it right away, you would likely be fine. So yeah, I guess what Alex is saying is definitely use it on your face.
That's why he has fucking that mustache, is because he has chemical burns on his upper lip.
Yeah, you found out the hard way.
Yeah. He's like, well, it looks like I have a fucking mustache from now on.
Yeah. So just kidding. Absolutely don't use 701 in your face. Come on, guys. You know we're joking, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. So today,
did we talk about everybody?
Oops. Time out. Yeah,
What?
we did. I said ink better, print better, and you said the whole thing.
Print butter, ink better, print butter.
Live, laugh, love.
Right.
Yeah, so we did it. We're done.
Hey, I love you, bud.
I love you too. And you know what? I printed ranch before, which you could put some butter in there. Probably you'd be really good. Buttermilk. So I have printed. I think technically I've printed fucking butter. So yeah, me saying that was just like a Freudian slip because I've done it.
Right. It's one of my favorite videos you ever made.
Thank you.
Did you end up watching Batman?
Dude, it's so fucking long. Like you didn't tell me that part. You didn't tell me it was 17 hours. So yeah, I started watching it, but it's not done.
It's like 2.5 hours, maybe, right?
Oh, no. Let's look it up.
It's so good that it doesn't matter how long it is.
It's good. I'm not saying, okay, this is not what we're debating. I love emotional movies. Okay, so hold on.
Yeah.
The Batman. 2 hours, 56 minutes. So call it 3 hours. That's 3 hours.
Okay.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You didn't tell me that part. I don't watch 3 fucking hour movies. I got stuff to do. Like there's like sleep and stuff.
Oh, okay. Too much Netflix and chill, Joanne?
Maybe, but it wasn't on Netflix.
HBO and chill?
Yeah. No, on demand. So
On demand and then on demand.
You've got a new saying, it sounds like. No, yeah, it's good. It is. But I started watching it after I drove, that whole way and dealt with flat tire and that sort of stuff.
Right.
So yeah, but we'll
so
finish it tonight.
Who are we talking to today, Andy?
We are talking with Adam Kilgore and Chris Magette
Machete?
or Majet.
Magellan?
Machete? It's so how do you think you say this? Majette.
I'm just gonna go machete.
I think he'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
And they're with Denial Print Co., located in beautiful Folsom, Pennsylvania. You know them.
Yeah, we know them. Yeah. Stretch it
I don't
out,
know them
bud.
as well as you. Okay, yeah, I did.
Let me see those pecs. Take off your shirt. Show me those nips.
It's gross.
What? Your nips or my tongue?
Both.
Didn't say it last time.
Yeah.
I'm happy you're here.
Yeah. I feel the same. Same about you.
Is your light purple?
I changed it for different mood. Wow. There we go.
Look at these guys. Hey, guys. Hello.
Do you have his number?
It's an 862 hot dog. You guys good?
Yeah, we're good to go. I turned off the notifications. Hopefully it worked.
Now your phone starts ringing?
Probably. My whole house is under construction, so someone's going to hit an electrical line or a water line.
Is that where you're at work now, right?
Yeah, I drove to work.
Okay. What's going on at your house?
I had a flood, so we're redoing the entire house, like top to bottom. So we're doing the kitchen and the laundry room this weekend.
Like your house flooded because of your problem, like a water main, or like
one of the kids clogged the toilet on the 3rd floor and it went all the way to the basement.
Sweet.
Wow.
So
that kid doesn't exist anymore, or
he exists. He exists.
just with a different family?
Yeah.
Like, well, you don't live here anymore.
I mean, my wife was happy because insurance paid out and she gets a whole new house.
Oh yeah, that's pretty rad.
But I'm the one that has to make it.
Do you as a dad ever like get your kids in the car and they don't know where they're going and you start driving and they're like, Dad, where are we going? And we're like, taking you to your new family. I do that all the time.
I don't think that would work out. I got a little different situation. My kids are adopted, so they wouldn't like that.
They wouldn't like that very much.
No.
It's not a good joke.
No. That would fail tremendously. My kids are all older now too, so I got 21, 18, and 15.
Dang. Yeah, you can't pull that joke on them. Mine are 11 and 9.
Have any of them ever worked at the shop?
One does full time now, the oldest one, the 21-year-old.
What do they do? Like, what's their role?
He does at the end of the dryer, and then he unloads on the press.
Does he like it, or are you forcing him?
I don't think he knows what he wants to do yet. He's kind of in that transition.
Is that him
phase.
sitting next to you?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Imagine.
I'm making him be on this podcast too.
His room playing video games.
Yeah, he's playing Xbox right now, probably.
On that note, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Okay.
I'm Adam, one half of Denial Print Co.
And I'm Chris. We started this thing almost 20 years ago as a clothing line itself. We weren't printing. So we kind of like transitioned into printing probably about 12 years ago, maybe.
So for 8 years, you did it as a clothing line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
And we were printing with a shop that's local to here, that's way bigger than we are, that's still around. And we were selling it everywhere. Like it was a
Worldwide distribution.
Yeah, worldwide distributed.
That's awesome.
And
Tell me about that. I didn't know that at all.
So we started basically me and Adam were both pro rollerbladers. So we did
I'm learning so much right now. You're hitting me with so much information.
So we started
clothing line for 8 years. I'm a professional rollerblader.
Well, that
half cyborg.
That came at the rollerblade thing led to the clothing line, where we had a whole team that we sponsored. We toured. We did all that. And probably about 2008, when the economy took a shit, all these skate shops went out of business and owed us tons of money. So we were like, all right, let's buy a press. Let's learn how to start doing sampling in-house. And then it transitioned to printing all of our other friends' skate brands in-house, and slowly transitioned into never printing our own stuff ever again.
Rolled into everybody.
When you bought your first press, was it, I guess it was a manual, or was it an auto?
Yeah, we bought the Ryanette Silver.
Yeah, the $400 Amazon one. It's horrible.
Was it?
Yeah, and then we sold it to some guy and bought the Vastex.
Yeah, they bought the Vastex, the V2000, which we still have.
And where'd you put that? Was that was in your garage, or did you have
No? So we actually had a skate shop too. So that was in the basement of our skate shop for probably 5 years.
Yeah, he had a skate shop that he had, and we worked out a deal with the landlord that if we cleaned out the basement, we could just use it because it was horrible. And they were like, yeah, sure. They didn't know what we were going to do with it. We just turned it into a whole print shop right away.
So hold on, there's like fucking 18 businesses here.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than that. Sorry.
All right. So I got to get a little more context. Go back a little bit. So how did you get into the rollerblading thing?
I met him at a skate contest probably in 1995.
Yeah, it was 95, 96.
And
you were doing this where?
Hackettstown, New Jersey.
Hackettstown, New Jersey was where the skate contest was.
And I'm from Westchester, Pennsylvania. So I was skating out in Boards and Blades is what the skate park was out here at the time.
Which is like right where our shop is now. It's pretty close to where our shop is now, is where he grew up. And I grew up in North Jersey.
And then you guys are like, hey, let's start a clothing line
well,
together?
He actually ended up going to college at Philadelphia at Drexel. So while he was going to college, he went for photography and stuff like that. So while he was going to college, we would always take the train down, stay with him, and he would shoot photos of everybody while we were skating, which would end
That's
up
what I was
in the
gonna ask.
magazines and everything like that.
Yeah. Did you watch that new Tony Hawk documentary?
I haven't yet. No.
Oh,
No,
it's pretty awesome. Like if you watch it, because that's kind of what he talks about is like, was it him or there was a podcast I watched with Jason Lee recently where they were talking about how at a certain point skating became like super in line with like photography and video because the way to get known and shown was to have your own like skate videos. So is that why you went? Right. What I'm saying is that why you went to college for video is to like make better skate videos?
No. So I was actually already in high school. I was actually shooting like weddings and stuff like full time.
Okay.
And so my parents were like, hey, now I actually worked for that was my job. Like I worked for like this photography company doing it. And my mom and dad were like, you have to go to college. And I was like, I'm not doing it. And they were like, you're going. And it was like I applied to Drexel because people that I knew skated went there. And that was it. And I was already knew photography. So I just kind of took all my work that I had done before that and ran with it.
So did you run with that degree as far as like trying to pursue it, or did you just do the bare minimum and got the hell out of there?
I mean, I had already had the body of work, like first day of, college, they're like, oh, let's learn how to use a camera. And I'm like, I'm already like way past that. So I'm like handing in assignments that I shot, years before that. I had tons of published skate work already that I could literally just turn in as assignments.
Well, that's sweet.
It worked out well.
So did you go to school too then, or did you just wait for him to get out of school so you guys could skate together?
Well, actually in high school, I did like a work program for credits, and I would leave halfway through the day and come down to our warehouse and work for him. But yeah, that's when we were shipping out a bunch of shirts and we had a wheel company too. So we were shipping out stuff to skate shops daily. So I would come down, work, and then when he started the skate shop, we came up with the idea of putting a press in the basement. We actually started their first shop shirts we printed at Woodward Camp in their like arts and crafts area. I used to go there all summer.
They had like a UDO kit or whatever it was.
Really? At Woodward?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I used to go there all summer as a visiting pro. They would pay me to go up there and just hang out basically. So we made the first shirts for the shop there, which I think he still probably has one or two of them. And then we started printing in the basement. Our first press, we didn't have a dryer at all. We just had a flash dryer. And we printed a 700 shirt job front and back and just flash dried all of them to get enough money to get the first dryer.
Yeah, but that's how we bought the first dryer.
I love it. That's what, I've done the same thing, and so, and that first dryer it's so game changing.
It was incredible.
I remember when I got it and I didn't have the right power hookups or whatever, and I wanted to use it so bad and I had to wait. Then I finally got it working. And that first job I ran where I was putting shirts down the dryer, like go down and catch everyone and just look at it, and just oh my God, this is incredible. It's just,
it was quick. Our whole setup was so wild. Like, yeah, we found a tub in a dumpster and set up our washout booth with a tub in a 5-gallon bucket with a pump that pumped right into the sewage line in the basement. Like
no windows, no ventilation.
Yeah, it was really crazy. But it got us to where we needed to be.
So how long did you guys do that then?
Wow. We did that for a couple of years because we weren't, like he said, we weren't like super serious with it. We would just do it while we were working the shop. Like we would print 50 shirts for us and then sell them. And then our friends would be like, hey, we need 25. And then another buddy that owned a construction company would need 10. And then it just started to snowball into like, all right, now people actually need shirts and the shop's not busy. So let's just focus on printing all the time.
So you were focusing on the skate shop and the shirt thing was just like a side hustle.
Oh yeah.
We were just kind of doing it for fun in the basement.
Like we never had any like, this is what we're going to do. Like awesome. Right. Yeah. We just
did it
for fun. Learn
at what point did that switch though? Did the print shop take over more than the skate shop did?
It took a couple years. It took probably 3 years. And then we had way more print orders in the skate shop. I mean, everything was doing terrible.
Right when the economy started to go down, the skate shops, everything went online. So in-person skate shops really took a hit. To pay the rent was impossible. And that's when we were like, well, we're getting enough print work that we could get a bigger spot and just do a print shop. And we found it was like 2,500 square foot spot in the basement of an office building in Philadelphia. And that's where we transitioned from a storefront printing in the basement to a straight production facility with no storefront, no walk-ins really. No one knew we were there unless you were coming to get t-shirts printed.
Right. So much just happened.
That was our shop, the one that we moved into was right near like a lot of the big Philly music venues too. So it was pretty easy to like, who's touring? Like, hey, do you need shirts? And like, you could literally walk them across the street to the venue.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. So was most of your clientele back then like skate stuff, or was it all just, like you said, word of mouth, like this construction company and this person of a friend of a friend?
It was all friends of friends at first, really. Like one of our first big clients was a hip hop dude, Chris Webby. Asher Roth's buddy, Tom Boyd, had a little clothing company that he was doing that was pretty big at the time. I grew up with Tom Boyd, and one of my buddies grew up with Chris Webby. And then that snowballed into more music artists just from me being in Philadelphia and, other stuff that we were doing. It was friends of friends of friends that now grew into what we are now.
Right.
We did a lot of music though, a lot of music artists.
And you went from a skate shop that was kind of having struggling times to working with bands that don't like to pay their bills?
Yep.
Pretty much.
I like the story.
For a minute, we were doing fulfillment for a bunch of people, and they didn't understand how to do merch at all. They didn't understand how to do online sales at all. They didn't know how to do any of that. So we would build their store, run their store, and we had a way of doing it where it made sense for us monetarily to do it, where they could get, if you wanted to charge $150 for the shirt, you're going to get $150 for the shirt. We're not taking a percentage of your sales. Our money comes from the shipping and handling side of it, essentially.
Right.
It's like it worked well for a while, and then that's when the music industry took the hit. And then at that point, we had enough other clients that it wasn't solely based on music, so we could still maneuver.
Right. So at that time, were you just doing the print shop, because it sounded like you had a bunch of other things going on, like the photography stuff, the wheels.
We deaded everything out. We deaded everything out and just went straight full printing.
Chris worked 2 jobs for forever up until like 5 years ago.
Yeah, until 4 years ago is when I left I worked at night doing all this. I worked at UPS at night doing all this for 15 years. Yeah.
How did you like UPS?
I was going to ask, how many hours a week? Before, I guess when you were doing that, were you married with kids and all that stuff?
No, so I've been with my wife 12 years now, but from 03 to probably 2010, I worked every 20 hours a day, probably. I went to UPS at 10 a.m., got home at 4:30, got to the shop at 8:30, 9.
Were you a delivery driver, or did you?
No, I actually worked on airplanes at the airport.
What the fuck? I'm so confused about everything that happens to you in your life.
Directing you.
So our shop is right near Philly Airport. We're like 5 minutes from Philly Airport, and that's like the second biggest UPS hub in the country. So you were working on airplanes,
like
loading airplanes. Yeah. Like I had a crew that I ran that loaded airplanes.
That's crazy.
And I did that for 15 years. That's where I met that's actually where I met my wife. So she still works there.
Oh, really? Did you learn anything about like how it is with shipping stuff and overnighting and all that stuff?
Everything about it. Everything about it. Like she can still like track stuff that you guys can't see from the outside and find out where stuff actually is and all that.
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I was like, do you have like inside scoops of like, I can actually get this done? Or UPS says it was weather.
It's great when we have issues and he's like, telling the person on the phone, like, nah, this is what happened. They're like, wait, how do you know that? They're like trying to lie to him. And he's like, you can't lie to me.
Yeah.
I have to get JoJo to get a job at UPS. Sounds perfect.
I feel like I have so many issues with you. Do you guys use UPS or do you use like FedEx? Or anything?
So we actually switched to FedEx probably about 6 months ago because of how many issues we were having with UPS.
Yeah.
We've had in the last 3 weeks, we had 9 packages go missing with UPS.
Dang.
No idea.
And they just said they just went missing.
Well, no, they actually ended up coming back to us, but they were for an event. It was like you know what I mean? It was like a 1-day thing. Like,
we had one of those last week and Chris asked me about it. He's like, cause I think it was like a 14 package shipment to a venue and just one randomly came back to us. It was not like return to sender, no, nothing, no note. Tracking still said it was like headed to the venue and it was at our door.
Yeah, we actually had a similar one too. And it was definitely a break open that they like broke it open and then like it ended up coming back to us with like different tape and everything on it.
Yeah. We kind of had like a policy with this tour stuff that we get it to the venue like 3 to 4 days before the show even starts. So luckily it got sent back to us and we could still ground ship it to get to the day of the show. So we just like sent it right back out that same day. But it was just weird because there was no anything. There was no note, no nothing. It was just the package just came back.
Then what do you do with the venues that won't accept it early?
It luckily hasn't happened that much, but for us, the problem is that if we try to ship it and get it there the day of the show, it almost never happens. It'll be like, oh, it's like the show's Friday. And there it's like, well, it says it's going to get there on Tuesday now.
Yep.
Like yeah. So that's why we've been shipping stuff literally 3 days early. And
it still won't make it.
Most of the time it's getting there like the day before the show instead of 3 days early.
Well, UPS always treats us right. They get most of the packages here. I don't know how they do it. In fact, it's pretty impressive. So, but I have, while we're on the topic of UPS, I was going through my feed on Facebook in the groups feed, and somebody mentioned that, what was it? Something like their shipping and receiving person, just when UPS pulls up, their shipping and receiving person just stands there, and UPS, I guess the driver, unloads all of the boxes and they just wait. And I think the owner was saying the shop owner was like, look, you should be helping UPS. You'd be helping the UPS driver, get them off the truck or whatever, and then stack them in their appropriate piles and stuff like that. And then I was reading all the comments. That's what's most fun is the comments, because, it ranges from fire that motherfucker to, you shouldn't be touching any of the boxes. Like that's UPS's responsibility. In fact, don't get on the truck, don't do anything, let the driver deliver it. And other people were saying that it's actually not their responsibility. You're supposed to get the boxes. So how we run it here, and this is what we just always have done, is that we get boxes in. It makes it so much easier to put them in the right stacks. So, you look at the PO on the box. If there's three, if there's one of one, if it's one of three, two of three, three of three, just put them in the same fucking pile and do it all right when they're coming off the truck. Otherwise, you have all of these boxes and you're going to have to do it anyway. I mean, you're going to have to organize it somehow anyway. So why not help the driver? And so I guess my question is like, how do you guys do it there? And also, can you help the driver? Is it technically like a violation or something against their policy?
You answer, you do it.
I literally do exactly what you do. And I understand both sides, because as an owner, when I don't do it, if our employee, a lot of boxes are 36, 50, some are more, whether it's a 5-gallon ink or whatever. But if they pull their back or hurt themselves trying to get that off the truck, helping the driver, then whose fault is that? Where I understand that being an owner, but also as an owner, I fully understand helping the driver. And that's what we do. Whether it's 65 boxes or 100 boxes or 2, we help get them off the truck. I used to do the check-in. Now I do it again. And I do exactly what you said. I stack them up 1, 2, 3. If it says 3, here's the PO number. We actually have our sales girl tell us if it's coming from multiple locations, and we make a ticket that tells that. So I know if it's coming from multiple locations, don't even touch it yet until they're all here. So that way you can check it in at once, unless it's a rush job. And we mark off when each location is here, so we know. So I definitely agree with helping, and I think it keeps it way more organized in the back. So if he needs to run back there and say, I need to look for P2167, he knows he can look down the line until he sees it, and there's all of them stacked vertically. They're not all over the place.
I think the other part of that, though, is it's like our UPS driver backs up to the loading dock and like he takes them out of the truck. Like I never get in his truck, but he throws them up on the dock. But it's like we help him load and unload all the time because it's just a fucking like decent thing to do. The dude's fucking got to do like 30, 80 boxes or whatever. Sometimes we have deliveries where 2 trucks show up and it's like let's help these guys unload or load shit up. But the other part of it is our driver is the same driver for like 10 years.
Yeah, I
And it's
definitely
like, help the
help
dude
them
out.
as much as possible. Ours, it sucks because our building that we bought has a driveway that they could ideally back up, but it's so steep that they can't make it up it. And we don't have a dock. So we actually have like a little incline driveway. So
Oh, okay.
there is times like where it's raining. That's one thing I'm like, damn, if it's raining and someone falls and gets hurt unloading off the truck into the building,
Right.
then that's like, you shouldn't even have been doing that. So it sucks. And I fully understand that. But at the same time, like you said, it's decent. Just go do it. It's not hard.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
But if
The
it
other
were
part
to
of it
bite us
is
in the
to-
ass, it'll be worth it. I don't care, I guess.
Like, I can't even count how many times like he's pulled up at, like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and we're still finishing a job that has to go out that day. And I'm just like, hey, Bill, you willing to wait? And he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Like,
Yeah,
take,
our deal will do that
take your
too.
time.
They're all usually very.
But that's what I'm saying. If you were that guy that just stood there and was like, hey, fucking unload him, peasant.
He's like, fuck off.
And then if you were like, hey, will you wait a minute? He'd be like, hey, how about one of these? And then
Yep,
drove
see ya.
away.
That's just a huge waste of time to sit there and wait for him to do it all. Because then, like Andy said, you're going to have to reorganize it all. Just do it right when it comes off the truck and it's done.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, the way I look at it is if you're not helping him, then you better be doing something else. So I'm not paying you to sit there and watch him.
Right.
Like, we're not super strict, but like, that's like it's decent. Like, if you're going to be an asshole, then do something else. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're not just going to like watch the guy and get paid to do nothing.
Yeah. Make remarks at him.
Yeah, you know.
So go back. You were saying that you outsourced for like 8 years to the local company there. How did that go out for you guys? Were you happy with that? For
Where
a
we
long
screen
time?
printed, they're huge. So they did decent work. Over that time, we only had one issue with them. It was like,
Was it rush order?
No, nope.
Way before.
It was before Rush Order was around. It's called Ampro. They're still around. They're like about 5 minutes from us. They do WWE. They do
At the
all
time,
the
they did,
sports
like, what,
teams, Eagles, and
Abercrombie and
yeah.
Puma.
Puma,
Adidas.
Abercrombie. They do a bunch of stuff. They got like 15 autos. Rush Order's probably about 30 minutes from here. And he actually bought the software company that was above us in our old shop. And that's how we met him. So we actually bought some embroidery equipment off Rush Order and went up there and took a tour. But he bought the software company above us to do his website. And actually, like, that's who created it all.
Created their whole back end.
It's funny. So you were totally happy sending everything to that other company. What made you want to like do it yourself then? I guess it was just like time.
No, once the economy like took a hit,
okay,
we
for
were
the
like,
skate
hey,
shop.
we could start like sampling stuff and like testing out ideas
When we were
in the
getting,
basement when we have free time.
when we
Basically,
were
is
getting
what it
shirts
was.
made at the other place, he was getting like,
Yeah, we were getting a lot of
lot
shirts.
of
We were getting a lot of shirts,
it wasn't
like 10,000 at a time, like of a logo. Not, you know,
Really?
we wouldn't be able to print. Yeah, we were selling it worldwide. So we had like a Russian distributor, European distributor, Australian distributor.
Japan.
Like we were printing locally where we're at now and literally shipping to all those places.
So that was all just from skating?
Yeah.
Does that brand still exist?
No, we haven't
that's right, you
printed.
said.
We haven't
Yeah,
printed
I mean-
shirts for ourselves, and
It was Denial
even know.
Clothing then. Now it's Denial Print Company.
yeah, so that's where the name came from. We just kept it.
This is one of our logos that was one of the original.
Yeah, that logo is probably 20 years old, 22 years old.
Dang, that's crazy. But if you were doing that many tees, you just kind of let it drop off, I guess.
No, so like 2008, when like the housing market crashed and like the economy went to shit, like all these skate shops went out of business. And
So you had
they
nobody
all,
to send it to.
they all owed us tons of money.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
tons of money, because everything then was like net 30. You know, you're letting a skate shop that's owned by your buddies net 30.
It got huge for him when he was like 18 to 24. You know what I mean? So it wasn't even like he fully understood. What
Yeah,
the
we knew
hell we're
nothing about
doing
business
or
back
what
then.
money was back
Right.
then. It's like, you want to go on tour?
Well, that's why I'm
we don't
asking,
care.
because you guys were like back then. It seemed like you had like 6 side businesses.
Oh, yeah. We went on tour, rented a van, and like what was it, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something, and the end of I guess we dented the whole top of the van up, and that ended up screwing him.
Like we went on
Oh,
tour.
so
We
much.
took the
We
whole
basically
team on
bought the
tour. We
van,
rented a
didn't
tour
get it.
van. We stood on top of the tour van throwing out merch at all the skate shops that we stopped at. We ended up getting sued by the rental company because you can't rent a car until you're 25 in most states, I think, except for Delaware. So I was 21. So like, boom, went to Delaware, rented a van, and they hit us with the like, oh, the roof's dented. And I'm like, I don't see anything. Like, we had to go to court. They like took pictures. I ended up having to buy the van, but never got the van.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Like, they just screwed me because I was young, but like, we didn't know anything about business. Like doing this whole thing, we knew nothing about business.
But you learned a lot.
I learned
The
a
hard
ton.
way.
Yeah.
Learned a ton the hard way. Like we didn't know anything about like having attorneys, having international attorneys, like accountants, like all that. Like we were making moves without anything backing it up.
Right, but it's the way to do it. You know what I mean? Like you
Oh, yeah, we
were just
learned-
doing it. Because would
we
you
learned a ton.
have done any of that if you would have sat there and tried to learn it first?
No.
No, I mean, this is how much we didn't know we wanted to print it all. Is that when he got his first actual warehouse, it had a huge oval press in it that a bootlegger got caught and left in there, fully working and everything. We didn't even know what the fuck it was. They didn't care.
Yeah, we didn't know what it was. We scrapped it.
Scrapped it. A huge oval press had FUBU and Hilfiger and all types of fakes on it that they sold on South Street at this one store that got like it was notorious, but it got
They had a
crazy.
dryer. They had a
Everything.
giant dryer too. We
And
scrapped
then-
all of it.
6
Why
years
did
after
you
it
scrap it?
started, we were like, "What the hell?"
That was way
man?
before
Like,
we
could've
even
been
knew, like,
good.
what was what.
Like,
Like that was probably 2003, and we probably didn't start printing until 2008.
yeah, once we
So didn't
started,
even know.
we were like,
didn't even know what it was. We couldn't have turned it on. We couldn't have done anything with it. We had no idea what it was.
there were
Get
screens
this
in there.
stupid machine
films
out of
in
here.
there.
It's
Yeah, we
taking
had
up
no
too much
idea.
space.
We had so many shirts. and
the
other
oval press
stuff.
was huge.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like probably 25 feet long.
Yeah, it was huge.
8 feet wide, 9 feet wide, or whatever. But they
Was
had
it
all the
precision?
hem tags and stuff were still on the
I
ground,
couldn't
like
even tell you what
from
it
the
was.
bootleggers that were doing it. They were all over the warehouse when we got it.
It was crazy.
But learning on the fly is, I think, well, it's what I did. And I think Dylan, you could say the same thing. And I think a lot of people anyway, sort of get stuck with, oh, you know what? I need to figure this out. And so that I do it right before I get started. And that's never how I was. Like I always just did it and then figured it out along the way. And if I messed up, well, then even if it failed, if whatever I was trying to do failed, I didn't care. I was like, fuck it. Okay, well, I'll do this other thing. And so I was one of those people that just did stuff. And even if it was wrong and even if it was illegal, even Dylan, you even talk about when you first started, you didn't even have workman's comp and things like that. Like I didn't know, I didn't care.
No, they hit you with a $50,000 fine.
Yeah. But along the way, you learn sometimes the hard way, sometimes I guess the expensive way. But I mean, I'm the same way. I did it the same way.
We pretty much just buy something and then figure out how to work it once it gets here.
Yeah.
Like we just bought a huge laser. No idea how to use it. Just got it a week ago. It's still in the box, but we'll figure it out and then we'll start running with it.
A laser for what? Like engraving?
Yeah, we can do. We bought one that'll cut, engrave. So we're going to do signage and, do tumblers, do stuff like that. But kind of just bought it to play with it, to learn it, and then we'll implement it.
It's definitely fun to just learn on the fly, but it was
I think so too.
The first year that we went to ISS and actually took classes, even though we've been doing it so long at that point, it was still very informative and educational.
You see the right ways to do things?
Yeah.
Dylan, you were actually in one of my classes. I think it was like 7 years ago, maybe. You were in one of my classes. I remember.
But it wasn't like, you're just like, wow, like, all right, now I need to start sending employees to these at least once. Like never twice. Most of them are never worth going to twice. Just at least once.
My question is was Dylan the class clown?
We had in some of the classes that I took, we had.
I love that you remember this.
The hedgehog.
These ladies that had these hedgehog T-shirts that literally asked a million questions and no one else could get a word in. No one else could get a word in. These ladies sat up front in every class I took, and they, we're taking like an advanced screen printing class, and they're asking how to use their Cricut, and it was so frustrating. It was a complete waste of time. And I remember the guy was like, "Hey, you might be in the wrong class." And they were in every class that I was in.
They
every
took
class.
every course.
Yeah.
I haven't been to one of those in a really long time.
Yeah.
That had to have been 7 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it about screen printers, or maybe it's entrepreneurs, in general, that we have the confidence, and I don't mean cockiness or anything. I just mean the confidence to buy a laser printer, not knowing how to work it, but know that fuck it, we'll just get in there and figure it out. Do you think that that's a common personality trait for if you're going to be an entrepreneur or even a shop owner?
Probably.
Definitely.
Well, I feel like that it fits in our industry, and you can sell stuff if you figure it out well enough.
It's definitely an entrepreneur because one of our sales guys does bottles, and ideally we were like, if we get a laser, will you bring us all your bottles and stuff? And he was like, yeah. So it's all right, well, that's just going to pay for it over this amount of time. So
yeah, for sure.
And then it's something that he'll enjoy setting up and learning. And then once we get it set up, you can make cool stuff for your house, for your wife, for your friends, or whoever. You just get
fucking like engraved birthday presents all the time.
Yeah, my one buddy was huge into guns and stuff. Was like, I'm going to come down with a duffel bag and you do engrave all my guns. And I'm like, all right, cool, bring them down. Like, once we get it set up, we can engrave whatever you want.
All the lowers, people have you put logos and stuff.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, everybody's going to want everything on anything at that point. Bring your laptop. I'll throw your little streetwear company right on the back of it.
Open the laptop and then it's a
laser all the way through.
Yeah,
probably. Well, that's the thing too. Is like what I learned over the years of running this thing was like, don't buy the smaller one. Like, just buy the biggest one you can. So
go big or go home.
Right. I scrolled to the bottom of the website. Was like, oh, is this one the most money? Is this one the biggest footprint? Yeah. Click order. And it showed up 2 months later, and me and Adam looked, and we're like, holy shit. Yep. This thing is gigantic. It's like 8 feet by 5 feet. It's gigantic. I don't even know where we're going to put it.
It's like ISS when he was asking you guys, like, all right, what do you know about the biggest M&R? Like, what do you think of it? We're ready to go. Like, we're not. That
was a funny conversation because before I talked to Andy, I'm asking him, should I get a Gauntlet 3? Should I get a Cobra? Like, we already have a Gauntlet 3, and the sales guys can tell you nothing about it. They can't tell you anything about it. So I'm like, well, there's a $30,000 difference. What is it? I'm literally like getting blanked on, well, I don't know. Maybe you should just buy the one you're happy with. And I'm like, what? Tell me the differences. Like, what is the $30,000 difference? And then I couldn't get an answer.
You got to go ask people that have seen it.
And then these two doofuses were standing over by the press, and you came over and talked to us for a little bit.
Well, they're telling me that I can't control the flashes on a Cobra from the control panel. And in 2 seconds, Andy showed me that I can, not as well as you can on the Gauntlet 3, but you can. But the sales guy's telling me I can't do that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, the sales guys aren't printers. So.
Right.
Yeah, they might have printed years ago, but they don't know about these.
Yeah. That's the sad part. I mean, a lot of them are really good. It's just, it depends on the guy and depends on the girl, whoever's selling, I guess.
But that's also stuff that, unless you're actually running it all the time, is that really important as a salesperson? Like, maybe not, but to an operator, like, oh yeah, that's important.
Yeah, the person.
I don't want to walk halfway around a 25-foot press to see if head 7's flashing right now.
Right.
The other thing they don't tell you about, and Andy touched on this earlier, is the electric. Like, how many times I bought a new piece of equipment? The first couple that we bought, we ask a million questions and get, they're throwing terms. I'm not an electrician. I know nothing about. Now I know a little bit, but. You buy this press and the install day, they're telling you, oh, you need this. And I'm like, well, that's not what you said earlier.
Get the electrician over here to put this $30,000 worth of electricity in here.
Yeah, and you need phase converters and everything else.
Well, we needed the buck boosters for our Gauntlet 3. We had to overnight those. And
I had to have that on my Sportsman. I should probably have it on my Gauntlet too.
He said, give us, he said you need 240 or whatever. And my electrician's like, well, you got 250, you should be fine. And they're like, no, that'll destroy the machine.
Yep.
The electrician doesn't know. He's just reading what's in the thing. And he's like, oh, it should be all right.
And the electrician doesn't know anything about fucking screen printing press.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I have my electrician in here. He's great, super smart. But when it comes to the press stuff, he's just he's asking me, he's like, what do I need for this? I'm like, dude, you're the fucking electrician. I don't know.
No idea. No idea.
No,
right?
no idea at all.
They never told me. They just,
and then we had that with the Gauntlet a little bit. With the Sportsman, they tested it with the tech tested it when he was here, and he was like, hey, I technically can't run this press because your whatever was it was higher than it should be. They're like, so you need these transformers to bring it back down to what it should be because it'll fry the computer or it'll do weird stuff. So we ended up buying those other ones, and then when they installed the Gauntlet, I told him, I was like, hey, we have to have these things on the Sportsman, and then he checked it. He's like, oh, it's fine. And then for I don't know, probably 2-3 months, we started having weird shit happen to the press. It would do all these just weird things all the time. It would print a random head, or it would beep really long, or whatever. And then come to find out, we had them out here 2 or 3 times, and they're like, oh, it looks like your power's higher than it should be.
It was fluctuating, or was it just too hot?
No, it's just it was too hot, and it was too high, and it was just making everything freak out.
So when we bought this building, and we actually had we had to redo the entire electric, and it's right when we bought the Gauntlet 3 and we bought the Sprint 3, the Sprint 3000, and we had to get a transformer put outside, by Pico, our energy company. And our electrician's in here, and Pico left, and he's like, "Hey, I think they hooked it up backwards." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, what do you mean they hooked it up backwards?" He's like, "I wouldn't turn this on." He's like, "I think they hooked it up backwards." And we actually ended up calling them out, and it was hooked up backwards. So if we had flipped that switch, we would have destroyed everything, because we had 480 and we had it converted down to 240, and they had hooked up everything backwards. So they said if we had flipped that switch, we would have destroyed every piece of equipment that we just installed.
And then it would have been like 3 years of back and forth on whose fault was what. And then,
Oh yeah. But they did confirm, they came back out like an hour later and confirmed that it was backwards.
it's crazy. Yeah, we
The
have
joys
a lot
of installs.
It's always something.
we've had a lot of like power issues here, not necessarily anything to do with the presses. It's just like our area. Like we have brownouts all the time for like no reason. And anytime we had a strong enough brownout, it would fry the transformers on our red chilies.
Did
And it's
you,
like
do you
800
have a
bucks to
surge
fix it.
protector?
I do now.
But wired into your panel?
Onto the panel, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah, we ended up putting a whole panel surge protector on, and we haven't had that issue since. But that's why I said it a while ago on here, and I was like, that's one of my tips is to just get one of those, because I don't know how many times. The problem is too, is on those flashes, if it fries those relays, it stays on. So we've had it where like the power switch is off, like literally the flash is off, have this brownout, the flash comes on and it just stays on.
You know what else
Like-
does that? The saver. All the time. The flash just turns on and like lights the building on fire like randomly.
The flashback,
Yeah.
the flash.
So I was just gone for a week, and it got me thinking, and it went really smooth. And it got me thinking, like, is everybody here in a position where you can be gone for a week and your shop will run perfectly smooth?
No.
That's what we're working on.
That's what our new big goal is. We're trying to, we hired graphics to do, mock-ups and stuff like that, because right now I'm taking on all of that and the separations and the day-to-day everything. So
Fixing
once that gets
everything.
put in place, hopefully I'll be able to step away.
Now,
Okay,
you
so
said
your
you're
roles,
doing the day-to-day everything. What
Yeah.
all are you doing? And do you not have other people in place to do some stuff for you?
We don't have an artist at all right now. So during
We haven't had
COVID,
artists for a while.
during COVID, our artist left, and then we had a new one who was our buddy who actually made that logo like 20 years ago. He was working with us, but we knew like the whole time that was not a long-term solution. So he left in January, and then I've been doing all the art since then. So now we're just waiting for graphics to get up and going. We have our second meeting tomorrow, I think.
yeah, we're in the
Right,
same boat. So we signed up, I want to say maybe like 3 weeks ago or something like that. And, you do some initial Skype calls and you start, I guess, just figuring out all the details. There's a lot that goes into it. And so the first 30 days, it takes a minute, and we're getting there. I have been gone, so I don't know, where we're at exactly, but we're doing the same thing. I mean, but we also have designers here. We're just going to shift on what they do. And so we're going to move like a lot of our production art to Graphic Source, and then also, and then keep some of this creative stuff that, I guess, more stuff we want to do here.
How many artists do you have in house now?
So there are 3, and then there's one that has recently become, so we used to have 4. There's 3, and there's one of them that has recently become operations manager. And that's kind of like my next thing that I wanted to talk about, because, being gone for a week, and you two are in a little bit different position, because you're partners. And so let's say Adam's out. Well, then, you're there, and then vice versa, whereas if Dylan's out, Dylan's the only owner. And if I'm out, I'm the only owner. And so what does that mean? And so like, I think it was really hard. I wasn't before. So before Ryan came, I could still get away for a week. And I have, for longer than that, but I think that's like one of, I think if a shop isn't able to do that, then that should be one of your goals. And
That's our number one goal.
Yeah, that's our number.
That's our number
Let me
one
ask
goal
you
right now.
something, Andy. When you
Yeah.
hire your art people,
Yes.
are they experienced in screen print graphic design and knowing how to separate and all that, or do you just find somebody that knows art and you show them?
all three designers in there. Let's see. So one of them, the one that's been there the longest, I hired him off of Craigslist, and he was working at Bed Bath and Beyond. And he had zero experience, although he had a design degree. Another one that is recently become the art director, manager director. He didn't have any t-shirt design experience, although he did have a lot of design experience. He was really great at it. And we touch on this. I think we've touched on this a couple of times. It's maybe been a while, but when it's in that situation, when they've just never designed for a shirt, they've never been around screen printing, then we always have them start or kind of figure out the press assistant role. So they're around it for a while.
Yeah, I've heard you say that.
Yeah. And then the third one, he was an intern here. So he was going to a college in St. Louis, graduated with a design degree. But before that, he needed an internship and he applied here. Said, hey, I want to do an internship here. And his internship, I put him on press, actually, not in the design room. And he was allowed to do like 1 hour of art a day. I paid him. It was a paid internship, but he was a press assistant. And then he went to the art room for an hour a day. And when he graduated, he's like, hey, I want to work here. And I knew I wanted him to, because he was really mature and just really great, really smart guy.
Up here, it's hard to find anybody, especially somebody with experience in screen printing and knowing it. We did have a girl from college that it was an internship, paid internship. She was awesome, but we knew it wasn't going to be forever.
You figured she was going to leave, like get a job not at a shirt shop or something?
Yeah, she ended up being like a marketing job doing, graphic design for a marketing company or something. I forget what she's doing now.
It's a really good question though, because like some designers, I've had designers that I've hired. They've worked here for 4 months, 6 months, and then they've come in and said, hey, here's my 2 weeks. I this isn't for me because I want to just work on projects for a month and be creative. And then that's it. Like, I don't want to have to proof my stuff necessarily and be a production artist, because, and output my art and things like that, because it's way more complicated. You're talking about you're talking about getting in like different zones. And on one hand, you're in this creative zone and you're designing something cool. Then you're answering emails, then you're getting interrupted for press approvals. Then you're out like dropping to your, hot files to output art. And that's complicated, and so it's a weird blend. And a lot of designers, I should say, don't necessarily like that.
So are you going to use graphics for mainly like production stuff, like mock-ups and stuff like that? And are you going to use your in-house people for your steps still, or?
Yeah, our in-house team is going to, we're going to keep simulated process here because there's somebody that does that. And he's actually going to be our operations manager. He is our new operations manager because he had his own shop once upon a time. We had many long conversations, and he started working here, like maybe it was like 5 years ago. He did a bunch of different stuff. He helped us on all of our expansions. And then COVID happened. He ended up running a press for probably a year. I knew he was like, he came to me one time. He's like, look, Andy, I've kind of like plateaued and I'm losing my edge on everything else. We need this right now and I'll run this press every day, but I'm losing my edge on design. I'm losing my edge on just all the different, parts of the shop. And you didn't want to just do that. And so I was like, okay, well, first, here's what we're going to do. And we put a plan together that is to print, as we brought in a press assistant, additional press assistant. And that person was going to, ultimately be going to be on press. And so it took a while, but, and also you just never know. You can do that and say, okay, cool, we're going to do this. And then somebody else leaves or somebody else moves and then you're fucked. Cause I think that might've happened in there, which delayed the whole process, but we finally have it. And he now though is the operations manager, and it is huge. And Ryan, this is because of Ryan. I have failed because I came straight from college to this. I was never in the corporate world. I never worked for anyone. Well, I had jobs, but they were like in a kitchen or whatever, like they weren't I guess real adult jobs. I'm sorry, hold on. That's insensitive. There are real adult jobs. You can work in a kitchen and still.
You just pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah. I meant like I was peeling potatoes. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like the the nice
Oh,
part.
now the guy who peels potatoes is an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, Andy.
All right, never mind. I'm going to go. No, but what I mean is that I've
one of
never
those
had-
bottom of the barrel jobs. Keep going.
I never had like experience, and so I think that one of my weakest spots is correctly putting titles to people and giving them authority. You know, like sure, I have different managers. Like we have a shipping and receiving manager, and she has somebody that works for her or works, you know, as her assistant. And we have an embroidery manager, and then there's somebody else, you know, that helps with production and all that sort of stuff. And then sometimes I put people in that managerial role and then they move, you know, and so it's crazy to try and keep it all straight. But I haven't done a very good job of that. And I think that you need that in a shop. I think there needs to be that hierarchy that there's a person that's the manager that we go to with this problem. And it's very clear and defined, and that role is understood. And so I've set about to have this operations manager, which is going to enable me to not just be gone for a week, but just to work on other stuff, you know, and other, a variety of other things, because I don't want to yet anyway. I don't want to retire. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind working less. You know, you talked about working 2 jobs before and working 20 hours a day and everything like that. I certainly don't do that anymore, but I could work less. And I don't think I'll be able to do that unless I have the very key role of operations manager. And I printed out a little piece of paper here, not to take too much time on this, of what that is. And I thought I'd read.
It's like 16 pages
really
stapled.
Email it.
So what is an operations manager? The operations manager role is mainly to implement the right processes and practices across the organization. The specific duties of an operations manager include formulating strategy, improving performance, procuring material and resources, and securing compliance. They should be ready to mentor team members, find ways to increase quality of customer service, and implement best practices across all levels. And that last one's really, really cool because, you know, he's been, because he was, it was somebody within, you know, he didn't come from something else, although I think that would work too, as long as they're really good, I guess, at what they do. But he's very familiar with screen printing and like basically every part of the process. And so he's going to go down the line and work and make sure that all of our processes are dialed in and efficient, you know, and that's something that I think we probably all do as shop owners, as when we have time where we're not putting out fires or doing art and all these kind of things. But I think it's really cool to have somebody that's specifically that's their role. Like that's what they do, that they have time. Like when they show up here in the morning, like that's their thing. They're committed to it, you know?
So they're not just going to be production based. They're going to be the entire, from the front of the office to the back, the customer service all the way to. So how many customer service people do you currently have?
There are 3.
3. And Dylan, what about you?
Same.
3. See, we only have 1 and myself. We're definitely way understaffed right now. We've been understaffed.
Like I said, it's impossible to find people.
We've been understaffed since, COVID, and we never shut down, and we ran the whole time that way. And we just kind of closed our doors and say like, hey, you need to make an appointment, because we're in Philadelphia. So I don't know, it might be like, Dylan, I'm assuming you don't have walk-ins a lot. You don't have people coming to see you. And Andy, do you have that a lot?
Yeah. So we have, I would say equal third are walk-ins, third are through email, and I guess maybe sort of like existing clients, and then a third are from our website.
So we were in like downtown Philadelphia until 4 years ago. We bought, a building out by the airport, but all those people still from the city want to come, sit down, start their whole clothing brand. And that kind of, while it's great and all, it takes a lot of time. They're coming with no knowledge of t-shirts, no knowledge of design. They made something on their phone in Canva or whatever, and they want to sit down with our sales girl and literally start a clothing brand from scratch. And that was eating up a ton of our time. We can't spend, 2-3 hours with the customer when she's the only person here. So we kind of shut the doors and said appointment only. And then we kind of, we make them send their artwork and all that before we even schedule an appointment, to kind of like weed out what's going to work, what's not going to work right off the bat, just because Otherwise, we'd just be sitting here all day just
Sure.
starting brands.
That was
a lot of
something
people
that,
we print for are streetwear companies and stuff. It's not, we do a lot of the construction guys and other stuff like that, but the people that we do a lot of are people that aren't just a simple, hey, I need 50 shirts with my logo on the front and back. Thanks. Have a good day. Boom. Send the bill. And that's what eats up a lot of our time.
I think that is a lot of our pain point is having walk-in customers.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the customers that we get fed up with are the walk-in customers.
It's because they come in and do it the first time and then come in and do it the second time. And that's what frustrates me is it's like, bro, this is your company, right? This is your livelihood. That's what they always hit you with. Well, then why don't you know what color shirts you want right now? Why don't you know how many shirts you want right now if this is your livelihood? You should walk in this door saying, okay, I know I want brown shirts, blue
they didn't
shirts,
do any homework
pink
beforehand.
shirts.
Right,
Just knew
exactly.
They wanted to
No,
start a
They
clothing
just want to
brand.
come in. Yeah. Hey, can you tell me what they got? Yo, what's in stock? Yo, what how about this brand? Do they got a pink shirt? Who got not that pink, this pink?
They do all that while they're sitting in front of us and they walk in. We close at 4. We open at 8. We close at 4. They come in at 3:59 and want to start their whole brand
It's like you have a
on a
laptop.
regular basis. I would say that happens 4 days a week right now.
You
So
have a
you-
phone, have
So
a
you now you
laptop,
schedule those appointments, I guess you're saying?
We do, but what do you do when someone walks in anyway? Like we have a huge sign on the door that says appointment only. Someone pulls up in the parking lot and calls, hey, I want to make an
Okay.
appointment. I'm outside. And you're like, we've been like this for 2 years. Like, what do? Tell them to go home. They just drove 20, 30 minutes to get to you.
Right.
So then
Right.
you're like,
Could you-
okay.
Could you make like a PDF or something you could email them right
So
then
we
and
have
there
that.
is
We've done
all
everything.
the everything that they're going to
We have that.
ask?
We've done everything.
We have that. And then we've done a checklist of like, really basic. And then we've actually done like an order form. We've emailed both things, but like they literally just want to sit here and
Yeah,
talk.
they'll
And they
never
want
feel
you
that
to
way.
do the homework. They want you to figure it out for them. But like
I
At
always
this point-
say charge a consultation
Yeah,
fee and
it's either
schedule
charge a
2 hours
fee-
and I'm going to charge you $200 and, I'm going to show you how to run your whole brand. So next time it takes 20 minutes. That's, it's $200 also saving your time as a brand, but he doesn't see it that way. And I understand customer service, but when it gets to the third time of the same guy doing the same thing, is it really still customer
But
service?
I guess the biggest question is: are those people actually making you money, or is it just
Yes.
another print?
That's
one of
really
our largest clients comes in at 3:59 on a Friday every other week
Has been doing it for
and
6
spends a
years.
ton of money. But it's like, I want to go home. At this point, I've been doing this for a long time. I've worked, like Andy said, I want to be able to go home at 4:00 and go home to my family and do whatever I need to do. And I'm here till 6:30 taking an order that's a large order, but it's like, why couldn't you come in at noon? You know what I
The
mean?
other thing, like he said, he brought up is like, it's great to have your money and great to have you as a client, but at the same time, like how hard is it to respect our time?
Yeah,
Like we have
I
business
think,
hours.
I think that's
Respect
at
our
the point
personal
where
lives as well. Like the guy will tell us like, well, can you just wait 20 minutes and can you drive it here and meet me? Or can you bring it back to the city with you? Or
I think
somebody that
the
works
biggest
there bring it.
scare is that a lot of people think that if they say no to people like that at all, that they're just gonna be like, well, fuck you, I'm going somewhere else.
So funny story, and I'm not going to name names, but I actually sent you a client, Dylan, because repeatedly, like he would just not respect our time. And like, he was a good client. He was an okay client. He wasn't the best, but we close at 4 and he'd be like, GPS says 5:05. And I'm like, dude, come on. This is like,
Thanks
the
for
10th time.
sending me that guy.
Yeah. But see, the thing, here's why I did it, because he's not going to drive to upstate New York from Philly. You're going
Right.
to ship him the box. You're going to tell him when the box is leaving. And that's going to be that. If he wasn't near me, he would have been a great client. He would have been the ideal client. He did know what he wanted. He always, paid up front. He had everything ready, but the only thing he didn't do was come pick up during our business hours. And like, there was a day where we waited for him. We closed at 4. We waited for him till like 6:15 in the parking lot. And that just like, that takes a toll. That takes a toll.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the first time it happened. I knew it wouldn't have been the last. And I'm like, hey, maybe you should check out these guys. They do good work. It's not like I wanted to send him to someone that does like shitty work.
Yeah.
I wanted to get him a quality product, but if he's never going to respect my time, and I mean, it was like the 10th time it happened.
Yeah.
We definitely bend over a lot and we definitely understand and help a lot of people a lot of times.
Saying goes hard to stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's just like he said, like after the 6th time and you look at it like, bro, I just wasted 2 hours. I'm supposed to be at dinner with my wife and kids right now. Like, what do you,
Yeah.
you're not even like appreciative when you get here. You're just like, all right, cool. Thanks for my Bob. Yo, peace. See ya. Like,
Two things to that is that we used to be that way, or I say we, it was me. I used to be like more of a pushover on that kind of stuff. And it got to the point where there was a couple of customers where I kind of started to say like, no, actually we don't do it that way. This is how we do it. Or actually, no, we're closing at 5:00. You'll have to do it tomorrow. And I feel like there was a couple of them where I was like, fuck, like, I think I was just fed up and I was like, we'll see how it goes. But I'm just like, these are our rules basically. And then you can tell they like were like huffing and puffing and put up a stink about it. But ultimately they came back and they were like, all right, well, does this time work or whatever? Like, I don't think anybody really bailed at all. I feel like it was just like, I put my foot down. I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. Another thing we did is we put like a lockbox outside. Like we have our ramp and our stairs and all that stuff, but we put in a door with like a lock on the front. And if a customer wants to pick up after hours, we put it under there and I just tell them the code.
I feel like we've talked about that a lot, but like we're still pretty close to downtown. Like we have a heavily traveled street where like people walk up and down. I feel like someone would destroy that lockbox, packages would get stolen. Like we had a customer ask us to leave, a decent size order out front in the parking lot, like 30 boxes. Like, I don't know how big your area is, but like, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to take that risk.
Yeah, I get that.
Like,
that's why I think I would just say like, hey, like, you've got a wife and kids. I've got a wife and kids. I got to go home to them. Like my personal life starts at 5:00.
Right.
So
I think
I'm sorry, but you have to be here tomorrow.
I mean, this is a great question. Or I think most shops suffer from this because, and we're the same way. I'm the same way even. And a lot of times my team doesn't understand it. Some people do, and sometimes they do. But when your biggest accounts, and usually I just reserve it. Of course, I think most of us reserve it for the biggest accounts. We do things. We break the rules. Let's say, so we'll do under the minimums, or we'll do quicker turnarounds, or they'll give us something that really shouldn't be screen printed, and we'll say, well, I want to super color this. And they're like, no, they insist it should be screen printed. So it ends up being screen printed or something, and so we're doing things that break our rules. And I don't know the answer. Like, I don't have the right answer. When should we put our foot down and say, look, we don't want to do this?
It always puts you in a bad position to do all those things you just said, whether you're screen printing the order and it shouldn't be, or whether you're doing it faster. Like we did an order for one of our larger clients. It was 1,000 sweatshirts. It was a week turn, which right now we're like 3 weeks, and we did it, and it bit us in the ass. Like it does that every time, and every time it's going to happen. And it's like when they don't
understand. I don't think a lot of times they understand, appreciate, or care. Like certain customers or accounts do, but others don't. And I don't know. It's a really tough spot to be in. And I realized while I was gone, something happened similar to what you're talking about. I'm like, I think what I need to do is have a conversation. And I don't know how good this is going to go. Like sometimes I think just coffee or something like that. So I'm going to ask somebody to go to coffee, and we're going to chat about some things that would make it flow smoother for them and for us, because I think in the long run, like we're partners. We need our businesses need to coexist, and they both it needs to be a win-win. It can't just all, we can't be losing on a regular basis. It's one thing to do it once and you don't care, right? But if it's a regular ongoing thing, like you sort of described, he's coming there every Friday or whatever, well then we're going to have a conversation, and it may unravel our relationship. I certainly don't want it to, but I guess that's what you jeopardize. I guess you jeopardize either potentially ruining that client or that relationship with the client and they go somewhere else, or pissing off your team constantly, and just taking all the, losing money on orders and things like that. And so I think it just comes a point where we've got to have that conversation, even though you don't want to lose that customer. You don't.
What do you do after you already?
We had the conversation. We had a full
2 or 3 times.
We sent a whole checklist. We had the conversation.
A conversation in person, then a huge email in writing with yes, I got this in writing and understand fully all your terms and conditions and business hours and everything. And it's like it just like you said, like some appreciate it. Like, yeah, they appreciate it only because you're able to help them when they needed that rush that week. If you can't do it next week, they don't give a shit about what you did. And that's what he's talking about right now. It's like, we've already had this talk with these people, and then all of a sudden it's just a small order. It's only 400 pieces, and it's an easy logo. It's not one that you're going to mess up. It's just this. It's easy. Yeah, but it's front and back and intertag and fold and
They don't
bag.
understand how long
The
it
hoodie's
takes.
got to come from California, not from 2 hours away, and it takes 5 days. And this,
I think you have to. I think you just have Dylan call him. I think he'll fix it.
I was going to say, I think we've done this with a couple customers. Like, no matter what they spend with us, if they start disrespecting us enough, we just say no. And we're just like, sorry.
Well, we did that on
order.
Friday. That customer that asked for the 1,000 rushed came to pick them up and said, "Can you do 400 of these by next Friday?" And we're like, "Nope, absolutely not."
Then he comes to me and asks me, and I'm like, whatever Chris said is the answer, but I can tell you it's going to be no. I'll check in the morning. And then it's like, I
said no, and he went and asked him.
Then he goes and calls the sales guy, and he's like, come on, please.
I don't know who that guy is, but fuck him.
Depends on that's where you got to.
Yeah, but the problem is that he might spend a good amount of money, but how much more stuff can you get done for how many more customers if you weren't doing his shit?
My argument.
That's the whole argument. Is like
that's our thing. Is that
we need
it's
to
like
figure that out.
Yeah, if we start saying no to the people who are we call them red flag customers. So like it's a newish thing for us now, where both Sarah and Morgan and Chris know if they get a customer who starts demanding things or starts like doing weird shit that we know is going to be something where once the order's done, they're going to nitpick or they're going to be just like a nightmare customer. We just automatically tell them no. We're like, sorry, it's not, you're not a perfect, I don't know, how do I say this? So I sound like an asshole. Like you're just not a good fit for this company. Like we don't want to work with you, or we basically just say like, hey, our turnaround's like fucking 8 weeks or something. Or it's this price or whatever. Or just like, hey, sorry, we can't do it.
So what would happen so you said no, right? So this last Friday you said no.
Yeah.
Okay. So fine. He just learned that, wait a second. I pushed. They said no. I bet you he still comes to you because he knows that you're going to do good work and you're going to get it even like with the 3 week.
Oh, I bet you he'll
policy.
come to it.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
He definitely
That's what I was
will.
saying before is like, if you start to say no, they'll still come back.
He'll come back, and then it's like, all right. Then he was like, all right, I understand. I'm not going to haggle on the price no more. Place 2 orders. And then just last week, well, why do I got to pay this much for the blank? How much does it cost you? What are you trying? I
feel like that's when you turn into a robot.
Dude, my response was, I want to tell him straight up. Does a kid ask you why you charge this much for your hoodie and what you get printed for? You tell him no, go buy 1,000 hoodies and figure it out yourself. The same way that we're going to tell you that respectfully. Like it's not disrespect, and like my tone is horrible. He tells me that all the time.
He doesn't talk to customers.
But like
ever.
at the same time, like at that point, my tone can be horrible. Like, what do you mean? What do I get this hoodie for?
I think you need to talk more, and Chris needs to be quiet more.
So he does talk to this customer, but I've actually had like a full on standoff with this customer. Like I squared up to this guy in our shop. Like it got that heated. He's been a long time customer. He's a 7 or 8 year customer.
And I fully understand like our businesses need to coexist, like Andy said, and everything. But it's like, dude, I'm at the point now where it's like, I can't keep telling you how to run your business.
Yeah, we've gone through everything that Andy said.
His best friend that helps him manage it. We've already told him, like, let him run this, and then I'll deal with him, because then he won't have to be involved and he won't be as stressed out because he doesn't have to worry about it. He can at all, like I can handle it with the other guy. We've already talked about it and want to do it, but he needs to run his brand. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they just have that mentality of like, no, I need to be the one that's doing it. But then you can't get here in time to order it. So you're here at 4 when we're trying to leave, and you wonder why we're pissed. And then it creates tension. And then the whole order goes to shit for the next 2 weeks because you're wondering why it's not done, because we couldn't order blanks in time because you didn't wire the money in time. And then now they're getting shipped 7 days instead of 4 days. And, you know what I mean? Like, well, why can't you just
why
start
do
them?
certain customers suck?
And then
but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one of those things that it shouldn't, you got to think of it at a certain point. If like, is it a money thing? Like, do we need this guy's money, or would we be better off just saying like,
right. And then what Andy said is then your employees are pissed. Like when we have an order for certain customers, not just that one, but others too, it's like everybody like puts their head down.
Yeah, you can
like,
feel the tension.
They're like,
They just
shit,
know.
like we don't want to do this.
They just know.
Because they know the customer's going to nitpick it after, like Andy said, or they know. We had one that was just like right when COVID hit, we were doing a ton, and it was Bella Canvas shirts, and I guess they were having some quality issues, and we had a customer that was like literally flipping every shirt inside out. Like this one's not sewn properly inside this. And I'm like,
How am I gonna do that?
we don't control that. And we're not going
Right.
to flip every shirt to look at them.
Red
That's
flag.
not realistic in what we do.
Oh, straight up.
And we were like, hey, sorry. We just emailed like, hey, sorry. Like
That was one of the
this
first
isn't
ones
working.
that he would just.
That was the
come
first
back
one
like,
where
no.
I had such bad anxiety. I actually read an Instagram post that Andy posted a long time. And I was like, it was like dead on with what I was feeling with this lady. Like she was a really good customer. I thought she was a big customer. I thought we were going to lose her. And then finally I crossed the threshold of like, wait, we want to lose her.
Yeah,
Like we don't want her anymore, because every time the order went out, I literally like turned off my notifications on my phone because I knew it was coming. I knew this 10-page email was coming with 45 pictures of shirts flipped
every
inside
time
out.
she would get it, it'd be
And I'm just
20
like,
minutes.
this, you know, like the anxiety of like waiting for that email because you knew it was coming every time. She was it was a every 2-week customer. It was a good thing, but it was just like dealing with the aftermath was never good.
I forget who it was on your show that said you say yes so much to survive that you get to the point that you need to say no to survive. Otherwise, you're going to kill your business. And when I heard that, I was like, you got to go listen, because that's exactly where we're at right now. Like, yes, for so long we needed to say yes to get here, but now we finally got here that we can't keep bending over backwards for these dudes that are not going to listen. So,
I think we're saying no more.
yeah,
than
now
yes.
that
We're
was like
saying
the turning
no
point
more
where we
now
were like
than we are
finally
yes.
like no,
I think the roundabout answer for kind of like what you guys were talking about in the beginning is like, how do I get to the point where I can go on a week's vacation and feel like no stress and feel comfortable and know that I have a business running in the background while I'm doing this thing? Is if you say no to enough of the headache customers that create bottlenecks in all parts of the company, like if you have that asshole customer that comes in and demands it by Friday, well, right there, it's screwing the ordering department because they have to hurry up and rush order that guy's job.
Yep.
Then it goes to the guy who has to count it in. They have to hurry up and count it in and make sure it's all there and scramble around to hurry up and get it done. Art department's got to hurry up on press. They're freaking out because they're like, oh, this fucking asshole again. Like, what if he doesn't like this color and this and this? Everyone's on edge all the time with all these shitty customers. It's like, I wouldn't feel comfortable going anywhere for any trip, knowing that my staff had to do that job while I was gone. So it's like, if I say no to the red flag customers and I just focus and do really good customer service, really good art, really good quality on the people who come here and can respect us as a company, then I can fucking go anywhere and do anything.
Right.
And that's what I feel like we're at is I don't have an overall production manager other than like Chris can run the place while I'm gone or Brian can run the place while I'm gone because they've been here forever and they know everything. I don't put that on their shoulders at all. I just leave. But everyone in this company has their own specific like managerial roles of their area. So like if it's just day to day, like artwork comes in, he steps it, it goes to production, they burn the screens, they put it on press, and everything is a couple days ahead or a week ahead or whatever. There's no stress, there's no nothing. And there should be no issues because most people here also are cross-trained. So like if I'm out for a week and Bill calls in sick or, someone else here can fill in where that weak spot is for a day or whatever until they come back. And it is what it is.
Graphic source up, it's going to help us a lot.
Yeah, graphic source. I think
he has a good network set up where even when he does go on vacation, because he does all the art, he can still get up early, knock out the films that we'll need, drop them into the iImage, not have everything will be good, which works. But at the same time, like I'm trying to get it where we have graphic source. I want to be like, okay, like next week he can take a day or two off where we don't need you because we know what films we're doing that day.
Yeah.
They'll be able to drop them in there. Like that's where it's going to start.
I could also be doing a lot more in the business than
and that's why like Andy said, like there's more stuff that he enjoys rather than dealing with customers and doing the art, where we can go do samples for some of our bigger people to get really cool jobs, and we can go talk
That's what I
to
do.
people and do sales and get bigger clients or bigger orders because we've never advertised and we've never done that because we're so busy.
That's my role.
We'll get the ones that we need and we want.
My role is to work on the company. So like I'm working always on like new ways to improve things or equipment things or, marketing things or going after big clients. And I have the time to fuck around and send them samples and figure these things out and do this.
Yep.
Well, that's what I said is like, I feel like a lot of owners are just like their whole day is just putting out fires all the time.
Right.
And it's because they're just taking this and taking this and taking this, even though they know that it's like not the best for them.
That's
and they feel like they can't go anywhere because they know they have 800 fires to put out this week.
Now, with some of those problem customers, you mentioned, like, are they going to like this color? Are they going to like this? Do either of you do on-press checks where you like set up a time with a customer, send them a photo, do any of that?
Never, almost never.
Andy, do you do that at all?
I do it with an order that's like $100,000 order because I personally don't want to fucking sweat for 3 weeks.
Right.
But if it's just like a regular order, I don't ever do that because we get it all done in the mock-up. Like we send them the mock-up, we send them the Pantones, we send them all the locations, everything. If they approve all of those things that go into that print, there should be no question. There should be no, why would am I giving you a press check when I just told you what all the colors are going to be? I told you it was going to be 2 inches down. I told you the print was going to be 11 inches wide.
It's all
that's where it took us the longest to, a customer approves a mock-up that says the graphic is 11 inches. It says these are the Pantones. That took us a long time to like, just put our foot down and be like, hey, you approve it. It took us years to be like, you approved this. Like, a lot of it is, I don't know if you guys do streetwear at all, or if you see these mock-ups where the streetwear company is using like a Gildan mock-up that's even more unrealistic than, it's a square, but they want their logo to be seam to seam from neck to bottom, but they send you a logo that's a square, and you explain to them like, hey, this isn't going to work like what you're picturing.
That's why we use all of our own mock-ups. Like I won't use a customer, like even if a customer is a designer and they send us a mock-up on a shirt, we re-mock it up.
Yeah, we do too. And then they want to say, well, why isn't it the whole shirt? Well, you didn't design it in the right.
Well, your Gildan was the perfect square mock-up
Right.
you found online. Someone stretched the proportions.
They don't understand.
The other thing that I tell customers too,
doing that.
the other thing I tell customers too is like, if you look at a shirt, like if you're making an online mock-up or if you're looking at a shirt like flat on something, that's not what a human body looks like.
Right.
Like if you're doing a circle print on the front of a chest, if you lay the shirt flat, you're like, oh, wow, yeah, I could do this as a 14-inch circle. It's like, okay, cool. We'll put that 14-inch circle on a human body with tits. Like it's not a circle anymore. And the other thing too, like metal bands, they always used to do everything oversized. They would do their band name at the full 14 and a half or 15 inches wide. So you wouldn't
see the first
two letters on both ends are in the armpit and you don't know what the fucking band name is.
No, we're arguing with the customer. We almost bought oversized pallets and everything just to be like, look, we'll do it. Like, okay. But he's like, no, this other place will print 16 inches wide.
Go there.
Like, oh, we already told him.
We told him go there.
Well, he went there one time and then he comes back and it ended up being a DTG that wasn't whatever. But he's like, no, they did it. Here's my sample. And then I'm like, that's a sample from somewhere else. That's not even on an independent hoodie. It's on like a no name with no seams, one of those weird ones. But then it was like, we brought the hoodie out and we measured it in front of him and we're like, it's impossible from seam to seam is only 14. How did they, you know what I mean? Like you're not when they want to just lie so much to try to just be like,
we actually had a customer call another shop in California while he was in our showroom, like put him on speakerphone and be like trying to tell us that they would print bigger.
Yeah.
And they won't.
We're like,
he's like, they'll definitely print 15 by 20. And I'm like, not on an extra small. Like that's not even, that's not. So he calls them, gets them on the phone. And they said, no, we won't do that. And he's just standing there like, well, they said they would last time I talked to him. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
I wonder, is this a Philly thing? I don't know. But also, this is a fun episode, I think, because I think people are going to enjoy just hearing like the nightmare.
Hearing us bitch about customers.
Yeah, like maybe it feels good. I would say, I think there's times to do press approvals, on press approvals. We rarely do them. I think probably, under 10 times a year. We did one recently because it was most of the time, if you're going to do a large print run, you want a physical sample, right? You want a proof isn't good enough. If you're printing 10,000 shirts or whatever, you don't want to just send them a digital mock-up. You want to send them a real shirt.
Yeah.
And so we take the time to set that up, print it while they're not here, and then get them the shirt. Not while they're here, because that can go down a hole. That can open all kinds of different cans of worms. But we did one recently when we were at the press because it was for a lower quantity. I want to say it was maybe 200 shirts. And the problem was it was a 10 color job. And I've always said, if you've got a 10 color job on a press, you've like made some mistake. And Dylan's shaking his head, but you should really rarely never print 10 colors. I mean, you could get it done with 8, almost any single job in the world. But we had this 10 color job on press. So I already knew we were fucked. And then there was going to be this on press approval because it didn't look quite right or whatever. And so I was like this, And because I wasn't here, I was just on the other end waiting for the answers. And then she showed up, said that it looked pretty good, wish there was maybe one minor change, but luckily we didn't have time, or they didn't have time because it was for an event. And we said, look, yes, we can make that change. And in a different scenario or whatever, we would, but we need to run this like right now. And get so that you can have your shirts. And she said, cool, no problem, signed off on it. And I think it's good to do an on-press approval in that situation because setting up 10 colors is a hassle, and it's only whatever many shirts. And so it worked out.
You know what she said it was pretty good because you did it in less colors, but she would have said it was excellent if you did it in 10 colors.
We did it in 10. No, we did it in 10. I don't think it should have been in 10, but we did it in 10.
We do way too many on-press checks. Way too many. We need to.
Yeah, I think
just because like I said, it's our habit of always saying yes. It's the same people that have always come to us. And that's the problem is they're either our friends or people that we've been dealing with for so long that it's like
breaking the habits hard.
Yeah. This is a cheat. This is like a shit way out, but I feel like I sympathize with what you guys are talking about for sure. Cause I've done this before, but like, I think if you are going to hire somebody for your position, the customer service person, that's when you start making the no stuff.
Well, she tries.
Then you're like, hey, I've got new management in here. This person's going to handle you. And then when that person goes to that girl or guy or whatever and says, hey, this is what I want to do. They're like, nope, that's not how we do it anymore. It's not them going to Chris or them going to you.
Do you either of you have the customer that only wants to go to you? Like we have that. We're like,
sure.
I do, but I tell them no anymore. I say, hey, these guys are going to be better to help you out. That's what I'm trying to tell them
because they only want to come to him because they know in the end he'll always give in. No matter how much of an asshole or strict he is, he'll always give in.
Sounds like you're a sweetheart. That's okay.
Like literally the other day, the dude was talking to him in his car after he was already.
I feel like us two are on the same page, and these two are on the same page.
Yeah, he knew Chris was pissed. He already asked him 3 times in his car. Chris sped off right in front of him, and then he literally walked right to me, and he's like, yo, so what do you think? Like, you think you guys could get it done? He told me to check with you. I'm like, he told me to check with me because he already told you no, and you're not fucking listening. And if he doesn't tell you to check with me, he's going to end up saying yes just to get you to fuck away from him. And then that screws him and us because he's only doing that to get you to fuck away from him. You know what I mean?
I know it's tough because on one hand, a press check is good because it eliminates liability. Like
this isn't even for press checks. This is for like the dude that just is the press check people are just all like just because they want to be like
they want to nitpick the job way too much, and
but the problem is that if you give them that leeway and you say let's do a press check, as printers it sucks a dick when they want to change it. Because you've already got the fucking thing on press, you got inks in the screens, you're ready to go.
Depends on the customer. Like,
because that customer is always going to be like, well, it'd look better an inch wider, or it would. I don't like this color, and it's
Here's
like,
the thing. Here's the thing.
My whole thing is when those people say that, it's usually the people that tell us, oh, do whatever you think is best. You guys are the professionals. I don't want to measure. I don't know. Okay, well, it's always going to be 10 or 11 inches wide if you're asking us because that's what every single person wants. So if you want it smaller, don't tell me that afterwards because I didn't know you wanted a 6-inch logo.
Here's the thing.
At this point, I don't even want to argue with you because you told me to do what I thought was best, and that's what's best. So you told me I did it. End of story.
Yeah.
I think what Chris and I understand is that
I think this is why Chris and I are on the same page.
I think what Chris and I understand is that I think that it's not always black and white. I think there's a lot of gray. I think that sometimes you say, no, we don't do a press check. I think other times you say, yes, we do. I think when you do, I think it can benefit you. Yes, it may cost you right then, but they see what a press check means. And I'm not saying this customer, because this customer sounds awful, the guy that you keep talking about. But in general, I think that once they see that, wow, fuck, like they had to put all these squeegees in here. They had to put all this ink in here. They had to do all this effort to get it here.
They never see that though. They never see that.
They're standing there and then they say, you know what? I don't really like the way that, that beige isn't good. I think this whole design would look better if it was fucking darker or whatever. And you took the time, you say, okay, cool, let's pull the beige out, put a different one in there. You do that when they're standing there and you do that and you go beyond like expectations and they see that shit. That works sometimes. And they're like, holy cow, like I would never go to it. Maybe it kills you.
That's what kills us because then they go like this. Well, you just did it in 5 minutes. So why the fuck can't you do it every single time when I don't like it? And you had it on for 45 minutes.
You give them an inch, they take a mile. You give them an inch, they take a mile.
Certain customers do, but then I guess that's not the customer you want.
Well, the certain ones that that wouldn't care won't ever ask for a press check because they know, like they come to us because they know we're good at what we do. They don't care. Here's my image. The mock-up's great. Sure, I approve it. Great, go. You know what I mean? Like, it's always the guys that are like, I need a press check. Argue with you for 4 hours the day before. He'll be like, fine, 9 a.m. You're getting a text with the press check.
Not even an in-person press check. Just, hey, 9 a.m. We're going to send you a photo.
We're going to send you a picture. Cool. You don't get a text back until 12:30. Oh, my bad. I didn't get that. My phone was on silent. I was asleep. Whatever the hell it might be. The first time, cool. The second time, then what? The third time, really, then what? You know what I mean? Because it's like, we just had a dude that wanted a press check, needed it so bad. Okay, cool. We sent it to him. He's the one this is who's doing our ordering now. He's in charge of everything. This is who will do all our shirts. This is who you deal with. Great. Send him the press check. First thing he says, all right, let me call this other guy and see what he thinks. Well, then why didn't I just send it to the other guy to begin with? Why are you're the one that's in charge now.
Yeah, it was the new ordering manager,
but now why did you
the old
check
ordering manager?
And then the old order manager doesn't answer. So he says, well, I don't know yet because he didn't answer. Well, we told you it's on press. We told you we're not going to keep it on there for more than 10 minutes. Like, that already just wasted 45 minutes of our time. 3 dudes sitting around watching while, we're printing one sample to show you and wait, twiddle our thumbs while we cut rags or sweep the floor or whatever. It's like, that's where I get frustrated because it's just like, we already did this logo 100 times for them. Just this time now, they wanted it puff.
I think, long story short, we all just need to go back to peeling potatoes.
Yeah.
A lot simpler.
Well, I think it's to the point now where we're at where, like, we're so used to dealing with these people because it was just me and him and 1 or 2 other dudes for so long that now that there is 6 of us, 8 of us total, 6 other people full time, that maybe we need somebody that's the cushion that, like, me and him don't talk to people unless they're like, I absolutely fucking want the owner now.
I think that's what you need.
And a manager can tell them, no, we're not doing a press check. We don't do that. Let me talk to Chris. Chris isn't here. Let me talk to Adam isn't here.
You know what my favorite thing in the world is? And this is, again, horrible to say, is the way our office is set up is like they come through the front door and the front desk is like a wall away from me, but I can hear everything that goes on and they can't see me at all, at all. So they come in and they'll say something like, it'll be some dick customer they know. It's like, oh, is Dylan here? I can hear Morgan go, no, he's not here today. Because she immediately knows I don't want to talk to that person.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, he's not here, or he's in the shop, or he's doing this or whatever. Can I take a message? And they're like, no, I'll just wait for him. She's like, no, like I'll take the message and like, I'll, give me all your info so that she knows to like deal with it and it doesn't come to me. So that's what I'm saying. Like, even people that email me, family members, my fucking brother could email me and be like, hey, I want to take care of an order. I'm like, cool. Well, I'm going to send you to Morgan or Sarah.
Yeah, they have to.
We do that too.
We have to now because me and him forgot so many times.
I just tell them, I'm like, I tell them straight up, like I make it my fault because it is my fault. I'm like, if you try to give me an order, it's going to take me 3 weeks to get you an invoice because I've got all this other shit going on. It's not on purpose. It's just, I look at it in my inbox. And I'm like, yeah, but I've got these other things I got to do. My brother can wait. And then tomorrow it's like, but I got all these other things to do. My brother can wait a day. And then it turns into this thing where now it's like a joke. My brother's like, oh, fucking can't do anything for me, but you can do something for so-and-so else. I'm like, you know what? If you actually want it done like everyone else, go to fucking the people who do it every day for everyone else. Stop fucking coming to me.
That's why I told him, I said, I'll print code Gmail, hit up. Send an email.
I'm like, if you want it done correctly and you want it done on time, go to the people who do it every single day. Stop coming to me for this shit.
No,
so that's what I'm saying. For all these customers, everything, I would say get customer service people, be like, that's their job. Let them do it and let you do the things that matter for the business, not giving a quote to Joe Plumber for 12 shirts.
Yep, exactly. Because even when we do the quote, it's going to always be like less or put something. You're going to do something that's not like you talked about in one episode. Like, I can't do a quote and he shouldn't do a quote because we're always going to give the discount or the lower price blank or where we don't up, whatever it might be.
You won't do it the right way and you won't even make the mock-up and everything because you're like, oh, I don't need to. I'm the owner. I'll get to that later.
No,
exactly.
And then Brian comes to me. He's like, what the fuck? The art's not in the drive. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Let me get to it. Let me do it. And it's like, I was half-assing it because I was trying to get it done because it's not my normal job.
Yeah. Didn't do it.
That's where we're at right now. That's why we need graphics to do all our mock-ups. So it's all in there.
Done right.
And you need to put a now hiring sign up on Monday for the front desk customer service person to deal with all these people.
Yeah.
I think we need to change the subject because you've really stressed me out and I need another vacation.
And he just got back, guys.
Yeah.
We need Andy to be in tip-top shape again.
Well, he knows he can leave for a week, so go ahead.
That's true. Yeah. So anyway,
Happy
we're
about that.
aside from us bitching about customers and all that, it's all good. Like it's happy and fun event. But like, how are you guys doing right now? Like, how's the shop? I know you said you bought a laser. You were talking about getting another press. What's going on with you guys right now?
We're super busy. We are at capacity in our building, like
Oh,
beyond
that's crazy.
capacity in our building. So it's kind of like we're trying to figure out whether we were supposed to buy the building behind us, and that guy was in a deal that fell through. So like we're ready to buy that building and kind of expand. And our organization is a disaster right now because of how much stuff we have in here. So we need to either find a new space or.
I love how you say that, and then you just said that you went and bought the biggest laser possible.
Oh,
Yeah, right. That's like the four decisions that I make. So
Well, it's either like we need to find a building or we really need to redesign certain areas to maximize the production foot space in here. And
That's my problem.
my idea was to minimize the foot space in the front so the people don't even have room to come in here to separate their blanks for 2 hours. They don't have room to even do all of that. So
I'm
our
at the
check-in
point.
door will be like, your boxes come over here when they're ready. They can't even come in the front door. They can't fit. So
Yeah, I'm at the point
not
where like
ready for
shop
print.
space wise, I'm like literally looking at tabletops to be like, well, what can I put under this table to save shop space? Like Chris's computer, we're shipping and receiving. Like I'm literally thinking about buying a tool chest because I have tools in one spot of the shop. I'm looking at putting in like a tool chest for his computer desk because he stands there anyway, so that I can kill two birds with one stone and make his desk the tool chest, just so I can get rid of the spot where tools
like
are.
that. We've pretty much done all that already. We
Yeah.
actually had a loft built in the back of our shop,
Yeah. To
like
put all our boxes
a
and stuff.
40-foot square loft built just to put storage up there. And that's already maxed out. Like you can't even put anything else up there at this point.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
When
Well,
COVID hit, we were all nervous. Everyone wasn't sure what was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit. When COVID first hit, we had a huge job for a contract client that all the events got canceled, but luckily we already had gotten paid and they, worked something out. But we had a warehouse that year for 3 fucking months. And that was all the space. And then we got rid of that. And we were like, oh shit, like what's going to happen? And it's been the busiest it's ever been since. It hasn't slowed down. There hasn't
That's
been
awesome,
a slow
though.
time. Like
It's good to be busy right now because I feel
crazy.
like a lot of people are still kind of, you know what I mean? Like even us, like we're busy, but we're not like, holy shit, we're 3 weeks out busy.
Oh, yeah.
We're like
We're
4 weeks out busy.
Yeah.
It's been crazy how much it's picked up.
Yeah. But I also like where we're at right now. I like that like the customers we have are paying what we're asking for and we're ahead on schedule and everyone has work to do and we're leaving at 5 o'clock and it's just a good workflow right now. Nobody's stressed out.
Do either of you have a lot of shops in your area?
Mhm.
You
Yes.
do. So Dylan, you don't have any, like locally, we probably have.
I have a couple, but I don't really see them as competition in any way.
No, I'm not saying competition. Like we talk to all the print shops around here. Like we are friendly with them. We kind of,
Yeah, most of them.
we text back and forth about everything day to day.
I don't say competition as like I'm against that person. I'm saying competition is like we don't even do remotely the same work.
Yeah.
Right. So we do the same work as a lot of other shops around here. And it's kind of like good to stay in touch with them and know, but like, as far as like what you're saying, like customers, paying what you want and all this, like that's been a weird thing. Like prices have gone up on all of us multiple times. And, we've had a shop that didn't raise prices once and that finally, went out of business. But kind of like collectively trying to we probably have 50 or more shops in the Philadelphia area. Of various sizes, and like all of them are not growing at the same rate, and some of them are not. Some are going through a lot bigger growing pains because they're not raising prices, because they're not doing all these things.
Yeah.
They don't understand the business side of it. They just got into it to print, and they don't realize like when white ink goes up this much, you have to raise your pricing. It's not like sure, if you look at it like, oh, white ink is only this amount, $100, and I can get 10,000 prints out of that if I wanted. So I'm like, $300 is turning into 10,000. Like, yeah, but how much is your rent? How much is your electricity? How much is your
you need
So kind of where we were at the
spray
beginning.
tack and your split tape and your this and your that? And oh yeah, I don't even think about that. Like, that's what you need to think about.
Before we get to shop hacks, I have one thing to add to our conversation we were having earlier about the problem customers, and that is that I think Dylan, you sort of started to touch on it, and that is that I don't know what percentage of customers are a problem in your shop and in Dylan's shop and in ours. I have an idea, but I think that if and one of the things I've started to do earlier this year is started to eliminate those customers, because it used to be that I wanted to say yes, sort of like you were talking about earlier, saying yes all the time, because it meant something. Like I was trying to grow. I thought it was important. I had equipment to pay off. We had bills and we have a lease and all that sort of stuff. But I realized that that it was making me miserable in a lot of ways. Certain types of work we did. And I think that we got to a spot where we could start saying no. And that was part of that too, is that sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you have to say yes. You have to say yes to that customer because you have that bill that you have to pay. And I understand that. So I guess the goal is, if you're stuck in that spot, always, saying yes, is that find a way, either find a customer that can replace and fill that void before you get rid of them, or just finally just say, fucking get rid of them, because I would rather have less at the end of the day, or less at the end of the year, I guess, and be happier. And you have to find that spot. And I guess we as printers and as shop owners, as we scale, we never know where that is. Sometimes it's like a stretch test. You have to get to the spot where you're like all of a sudden break and you're like, say, fuck it, I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm gonna downsize, I guess, or something, whatever you've got to do, and get rid of that dickhead or bitch or whatever they are. And then make room for a little bit of work that you may want to do. It may suck at first and be painful at first. And I don't know.
We're in a spot where the type of work that we do. The type of work is the customers that are more demanding, because we're doing clothing lines, and it's their artwork. They want to
their vision,
exactly certain way, and they don't understand, because a lot of them are new at it, that like, hey, no one's going to know that the shirt's messed up. Like, you're still going to sell out of these because the Pantone of, green is one shade off. Like, they're thinking too much about stuff like that. And that's kind of like you said, the type of work we do is more demanding than your average.
And are you wanting to shift that slightly? Like, just maybe subtract, some of that work? It
would be a lot less stressful, because it's a lot less demanding. I mean, it doesn't matter whether I print the simple 1 or 2 color, or like you said, the 10 color that you got on press, and you're fighting with the customer. At the end of the day, when you're selling, you just want to go home.
I really want to, you just saying that, like, the little thing being wrong, that they're going to sell out of them. I really hope that the customer I'm thinking of in my head is the one that you said you sent me, that ended up firing.
Wait, I will talk about that later, because I don't want to get into that, but
I don't either. I'm just saying that, like, we had something similar to that, and like, this is like, they were literally the reason why we started doing more of the red flag system, is that customer, because they were same thing. They wanted to do this big brand and clothing line thing, and they were new to it. And they were like, oh, here's this stuff we want to do. We printed it. They ended up messing up something in the artwork, and it didn't translate when we printed it. It was kind of like our fault, kind of their fault. And we did all these shirts. It was like front and back. And I don't know, they did a bunch of orders, and only one order ended up having this issue. And it was like 100 shirts or something, like not a big deal, but it was like front, back, sleeve, everything. And it was something real small in the artwork. We were like, we don't ideally want to do this, but we could literally take a paintbrush with a little bit of white ink on it.
Yeah.
Fix that spot slightly, heat press it so you can't see like brush marks or anything, and then send it back to them.
We've all done that.
And like, they were like, oh, this is totally unacceptable. I could never send this to my customer this way. We're like, dude, you cannot fucking see that. There's no way. Like,
yeah, they don't realize that. Like,
but they were like, these are unsellable.
You're the only one that's going to know.
They were like, these are unsellable, and we have high standards. They're like, we're selling. I was like, we're selling these shirts for $100 a piece. And I was like, well, first of all, you're not going to be able to sell these shirts for $100 fucking a piece. They were like Gildan 5000 with like a 3-color print
That
like,
we have customers that do that $150, $200 I mean, we have customers that are literally selling $200 all style 1301s, like thousands upon thousands.
That's where I told them right then and there. I was like, okay, like that's fine. Cool. We tried to fix this for you. We tried to make it right. You're not going to be happy with whatever we do. So here's your
their problem.
I was like, here's your full refund. See ya.
Yeah.
Like,
don't come back.
Done. Don't come back. That was literally the entire conversation. I was
Have
like,
either of you guys tried the 6 foot rule where if you have a customer that's saying sort of that type of thing that,
we say it's a 3 foot rule, but I know.
Well, I mean, I changed it to 6 foot because of COVID, but I think you should just, I don't know if anybody uses that. And if you don't, then I think it's a really good one, because when somebody's complaining about something that's minor, this you almost need a magnifying glass to see. I always say, look, shirts it's a t-shirt. First of all, t-shirts are all a little bit different. There's a tolerance within how they're built and sewn and put together. Same thing goes with the print. We're human beings doing this. Sure, we have an automatic press, but I mean, we're human beings in the end of the day making these shirts. It's not a laser printer. And every shirt is going to be slightly different. And that's what makes it kind of cool. And so stand back from 6 feet and have a look at the shirt. I mean, you can't tell. And so look, next time we'll make sure that doesn't happen, whatever the fuck happened. But these shirts are within our tolerance and totally acceptable. And I go that route. If they still say, I hate it, it sucks, I fix it, I still do. But
That's
that one time they get one of those fixes. And then it goes in their profile. And then we just say, look, we gave, and I tell them that too. I was like, okay, well, look, we're going to fix this one time, but next time we're not doing that. Set that expectation.
At least the people up here, they just don't care. Like, we have a sign huge for customer property that says, like, we're not responsible for anything. Even if we fuck up all 700 of them, obviously we'll still do something, but like to cover our ass if it needed to, it doesn't matter. We had a lady that brought her own blanks, signed it, printed it out. We had her sign it in front of us. We emailed it to her, got the confirmation, got everything. One of the seams from Bella Canvas on the side wasn't sewn all the way. She swears she looked at every seam. She swears she did everything.
Flips every shirt.
Chris is talking to her for like a half an hour, just arguing with her. Like, no, like, I'm not crediting you for anything. I'm not buying the shirt. Like, we actually printed on it. You can go home and sew it, and it's still sellable. I just said, give me the shirt. I went back and sewed the seam real quick and brought it back up and was like, here. Like, I'm like, don't like. But now you're just gonna expect this every time. But at the same time, like, yeah. But at the same time, it's like her thing was, well, why am I getting penalized for it? I'm like, what do you mean you're not? Like, you can hit up whoever you bought these from and tell them, and if they tell you to send it back, you're screwed because it's already printed on it.
Do either of you guys let clients bring their own stuff? So in our area, like being in Philly, like there's places you can go to, like the wholesale place that, I don't know if any of you know what Foreman Mills is. Foreman Mills basically sells like rejected Bella Canvas.
I know what you're talking about. We used to do that all the time. We used to shop at those places as kids.
So we have people bring us like trash bags full of stuff, and it's a nightmare. Nothing is the same. Like, they got 5 Bella Canvas shirts, 5 Gildan shirts, 5 who knows what they are. Polys. And when you're printing on stuff like that, it's a nightmare. So we have like an entire sign that he said is huge up there. And these are smaller orders too. So it's like not even, if a customer wanted to bring me a couple thousand of a independent hoodie, fine, whatever. But when they're bringing me trash bags and I'm sorting through them and I'm like, well, this is a blend, this isn't, and trying to figure that out, it's just a nightmare. And it's like not even worth it anymore.
Like, why can't you print on this one camo? Why can't you print on this tie-dye? And you explain it to them and they're like, no, do it anyway. You're like, okay. Then they get it. Yo, but why is the camo coming through the logo? That's what dye sublimation is that I told you. That's like exactly what I explained to you for 45 minutes.
And it's one piece. They had one tie-dye in the bag. You know what I mean?
To cap that off, if you would have said no to that trash bag customer, how many more good customers could you have dealt with and talked to you and got out the door?
A lot.
Okay. I love this episode. We got to bitch so much and it was amazing.
Yeah, man. He gets mad because I bitch so much.
I mean, it's because I get bitched at by the customer and by you. Like, so they leave and then you yell at me.
I fully get both of your sides, and I, try to be a hard ass, but I'm a big softie when the customer comes in and bitches, and I try to deal with whatever I can. But there gets to be a certain point where I just have to.
I'm starting to learn that I can't bitch when I do, because it's frustrating. Like he said, he's already just got bitched at, but I'm just bitching because, bro, you just wasted 30 minutes when I told you.
Yeah, we waste a lot of time.
I already told you that dude's going to be fucking horrible. He already was horrible. Like, that's why I'm frustrated. I don't care that you did it. Like, obviously, I trust anything that he does. I'm just frustrated because we have other shit that we need to get done. Just tell the dude no.
Yeah. Well, do you guys have any shop hacks for us?
I mean, most of mine I got actually from watching your shows, but we do have a couple cool ones.
Give us back some of our own.
We color code all of our screens with colored tape, so you know what's a 110, a 155, a 230, a 60 mesh. If they have holes in it,
I did see that on your printable thing
for inner tags or one color reprints for people that order 30 at a time, and it doesn't matter if it has a little hole or like we'll try to get as much use out of them as possible.
This isn't really a shop hack, but you guys both use roll tack to do your pallets.
And we do. Yeah.
I use water-based glue.
So water-based glue, but why does no one use the gun that squirts the water? That does the water-based glue. Like we have the gun that you hook the water-based up to and spray that. Why does no one have that?
What gun?
I think he's talking about like a pneumatic.
So you take the Techmar makes it, and you basically put that into your gallon of water-based glue. And instead of rolling it on and carding it, there's a gun with it. You hook it up to your air compressor and it shoots it out, and you can load a shirt right after you spray it.
And you're going to save about 20
gallons.
Yeah,
it's so 1 gallon of that is like equivalent to like 24 cases of mist, which we don't ever use mist, but I mean, it's the same price as what you're carding on. It's just in a pneumatic air.
What about overspray? I mean, does it clean up pretty easily?
There is overspray. It is water-based, so it does pretty much wipe up easily, but it is significantly faster than using the card. And we do double stick tape for a lot of t-shirts, and then we'll leave the double stick tape on there and put regular pallet tape over top of it.
Or leave the tape that's on it. Like put the double tape on, but don't peel the top. Use that for hoodies or fleece in the order. And then when you get to the t-shirts, just peel the top off and you have fresh double-sided tape ready to go.
How long does
that's a good shop hack in itself.
What, the double tape?
Do that. Yeah, if you can put it on and not peel it off and just use that for hoodies first and then
web right on that and then peel that off and you have fresh pallets.
Makes perfect sense.
Chris and our DTG guy came up with using the double-sided tape on the DTG pallets, and that helps a lot with holding shirts down or doing awkward stuff. Like we do a lot of pillowcases and decorative.
Yeah, the double stick on DTG is really good.
And that's really good. Chris actually used his 3D printer to print Epson legs for the DTG, and then he used plexiglass to make oversized boards so we can do oversized.
Chris was the one who told me that he was making what was it?
So it was a pusher frame.
The pusher frame.
M&R, the cable. So on the iImage, you can move that carriage up and back.
Yeah.
But the cable's not long enough.
Yeah.
So I have to cut out and rewire it so that the cable will pull the carriage all the way up. But then, 3D printed a pusher frame for like 10 cents.
Yeah.
I don't know. M&R, every time I called them to get one made, they would say they had to call me back or, because they don't make a rapid tag.
I got a quote on one and it was really expensive.
Like $3,000 or something.
Yeah. Then we ended up finding out a way to do it without anything. We found out a way to do our 2024s and our rapid tag screens without a pusher frame. So
do you do it completely without it? You just push it up and what, do you just jam something up under there?
We found out, and I'm not fucking telling people to do this. I'm signing a waiver right now saying if it fucking trashes your print head, it's not my fucking problem.
I'm going to go do it right now, by the way.
We do it all the time and it works. I'm just saying, don't fucking try it and ruin your shit and yell at me. We basically all the pusher frame is doing is it's getting the screen to the right height to where the print head is, just like grazing or just above and it's putting ink down. So we just all you need to do is figure out how high to get your screen in order for it to work. So what we ended up doing is we put an M&R pallet, like take the pusher frame off, put an M&R pallet down. And then we took business cards and found out the height that we needed from there, which was maybe like 3 business cards. And we just taped those business cards together and we just set them on the pallet, set the screen on it. And then we just set the printer at unidirectional, because if you did bidirectional, it's not like perfectly like tight and held. And then it prints directly on the screen fine. So we set up, a 2024 for our live prints, and we do it for our Rapid screens. That works.
Do you
totally
do
fine.
most of your screens bi-directional besides those?
We do bi-directional for anything solid. Anything with halftones, we do unidirectional.
So it's weird. We have an issue with ours where if you have just the spot color set in Illustrator and you put it on bi-directional, one of the layers, like one of the colors will be off, and it'll ghost, and it'll be like an inch off.
That's weird.
And we ended up
getting better halftone detail with unidirectional.
For sure.
So that's why anything that has anything kind of halftones, or like fine detail, we do unidirectional. It takes longer, but it's still giving you a good.
We just leave it uni, so we don't
have to mess with it. Yeah, it's just a little slower.
We have so many people burning screens that if one guy forgets to put it back and we're doing a $10 halftone, that makes all the difference.
We just leave it because we have a lot of people that do a lot of rolls.
Yeah, I just have the one guy doing it, so he just knows to switch it. And I mean, he's got different things he has to change all the time, like coding for a 140 versus a 230, or burn times, or different.
Do either? I know Andy does embroidery in house. Do you do embroidery, Dylan, or no?
Nope.
So we also took, you could see it kind of right there. We took all of the Wilflex colors, and it's got the Pantone for the bucket and the thread color Madeira matches.
That's
like
awesome.
We did that for every. We did that for Monarch and for Wilflex.
Because we have a lot of people that go, "Oh, match this to my shirt that I'm printing."
Yeah, they'll get a sleeve embroidery, but then they'll get the front screen printed. So we just matched that up. That saved us.
Did you just
hours.
Physically match it? Or
No.
did they actually have the...
No, you can do it on their website. So we got the Pantones from Wilflex and Monarch, like for their buckets. Like, they send you a spreadsheet, and then on Madeira's website, you can just go type it in. We typed in every single one and then just made that in Illustrator.
That's cool.
But that saves us so much time from trying to figure out, hey, what's going to match this?
Yeah, no, that's smart. Yeah. We ended up just doing that too, like printed that, all
I saw the
colors and all of our other things. And it's underbase versus, with an underbase. And so now I'm hoping that the salespeople can just look at that quick and be like, make judgment decisions too. Like, it's nice for Brian doing the steps. If he wants to do a dropout or something, he can see, all right, well, if I use this color and it drops out, this is how far it's going to drop out.
Right.
Like, this is how opaque it's going to be and everything else.
I mean, when we do our puff ink, we always mix them a Pantone or two darker so that when the puff mixes in, it lightens lighter up to where it should be.
Yeah. We were just talking last episode how Andy doesn't allow puff ink in his shop anymore.
We have so many people ask. It's
man, I don't want to because
it's
a lot of people ask for it, but we're not charging what we should.
We have probably 75 Pantone mixes of puff right now on our wall that have all been used multiple times. Like, we get every streetwear company asks for puff ink,
and everybody wants it to be so puff. Our puff ratio right now is like almost
we're mixing like 50-50 because they want something ridiculous.
If I'm mixing in 50% puff additive that costs this much money, why am I only charging 10 cents or 25 cents more?
We can't go back down that road, guys. We can't go back to the customer bitching.
No, that's not the customer bitching. That's me just like damn, we're
mixing in so much puff that
we should charge more because
and also
we're doing
you can't
a specialty service for less money, essentially.
It's also supply chain shortage. You can't hardly find it. So, I mean, maybe that would be a blessing. Out of it.
We can't print puff anymore. They don't have it. Fresh out. Yep. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Oh, I mean, most of them I asked already about employees, and all the other stuff is, I guess, pricing or like specialty services. Do you charge more for that? Which is just stuff that me and him always go back and forth on.
We kind of go back because we do a lot of the specialty.
We used to charge all the fees and extras on the bottom, and people don't like that, so then we lumped everything into our pricing, which works for so long. But now I run the embroidery machine, and now everybody wants metallic fucking gold that breaks a million times. And like, I literally did a hat run, an 8-hat run, same logo, black and white, no problem, ran flawless. Then they wanted white and gold, and the gold was the outline. I timed it and had it. I'm like, bro, it took me 2 hours to do 8 hats because it broke so much thread. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't anything that I was doing wrong.
So do you guys have pricing for like stuff like that, where if you're going to do a hat with metallic versus a hat with regular, do you put it as a fee on your invoice, or we have what's called specialty
screen print. We have the PETA fee.
Everybody has that, but we have like So we don't put any fees on the bottom of the invoice. Like if our sales girl takes a puff job, she automatically just pulls down in our Printavo specialty screen printing matrix, which is a percentage up from the normal. Like if you get a one color puff.
You're just building it into the actual cost.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because we found that customers just don't like fees, but do you guys tag it on with a fee at the end, or do you guys lump it in?
I feel like it's a little of both sometimes. Depends on the customer, because we custom quote everything. So it's not like they're looking at a pricing chart or anything. So if it's something, like I said, it depends on the customer. Like we'll either build it in or we'll put it as a line item. I feel like if it's somebody who's just like, oh, well, I want it this, and then I want this, and then I want this, that's where I'd rather put it as a line item so I can see, okay, well, like this is what it would normally be, if you just did a regular print. And then they're like, well, what if I kind of want this, I kind of want this, I kind of want this. Then I'll put it in as a line item. And like, this is the fee for this. This is a fee for this. This is a fee for this. Yeah. So then I can try to get them back to being like, not doing those add-ons, because for us, it's a pain in the ass. I'd rather them go back to being like, yeah, it's just a 4-color front, instead of like a 4-color front with metallic ink, with sleeve print, with, puff additive. And it's like, I want them to go back to the original 4-color print.
And we specialize in the exact opposite of that. We specialize in the puff and metallic, and it's like a 10-color. Like that's where we're
I try to push them back to being like, this will still look cool.
Well, I definitely think, I think certain things that should, like adding a line item and charging more. I was telling him, for the one guy especially, it's like he wants on the mesh on his trucker hat. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool for 20. But like when the dude wants 500 hats and the thread just breaks all the time because there's literally no stability and it's just mesh eating the thread. Like at 500, there is no quantity discount. It should be the same price as fucking 10.
Me and Andy talked about
just as long. Like, and that's what I was telling you, because I heard that in the one where Andy said, like, past 500, it shouldn't be a quantity breakdown.
It should be going back up again. Because it's a logistic nightmare.
That's what I said. And he was like, no, like we can't be competitive. Like it has to make sense. And I understand that logic, but like I fully understood.
We definitely went the opposite direction though, after hearing that, because
like I'm not wasting all this time and effort to fold and bag 1,000 hoodies to literally make no money. Yeah. I just had 5 people busy for 2 days folding and bagging, 1,500 hoodies when they could have done literally 15 jobs that made us $1,500.
I think you guys are good for one another. I like your dynamic because, you have you bring both of, I guess the ends
both sides of the spectrum.
You really do. Yeah. And I think that's healthy, because as long as you guys can work through those things, because sometimes, I don't know, sometimes Adam's right, sometimes Chris is right, or sometimes maybe you're both agree on something. You end up
meeting in the middle is where you should be anyway.
Yeah, it works well together. I'm very like, when we make a rule or we make a process or we make something, like I'm just like, we made it, so I'm enforcing it. And he'll get frustrated. It's not black and white. He'll get frustrated that I'm enforcing it. And I'm like, but that's why, like, I think we need that person under us, because then they understand, like, dude, you hired me to enforce this. I'm going to enforce this.
But that's where that charm, and that's where like if you go to a restaurant and there's that, and something's wrong with your meal,
restaurant analogy,
or something, you can't get a table, or whatever the fuck's going on when you go out and you want to have this great experience, right? That's when that person that needs to not be in production or not be a server or anything like that, that's where that person needs to go and make that customer happy, like completely happy. We went to, so where we were at a poolside. We were at poolside one morning, and Joanne wanted breakfast, and I was like, hey, can we create a menu? And so she brought over a menu. We already had a drink and stuff, and it was great. We're like having a fucking great time, right? Brings over the menu, no breakfast on the menu. And so I know they make breakfast inside. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's just go inside. We'll order breakfast, bring it out here. And we won't have the service, but I don't care. We'll get it done. Go in there. And the bartender walks up and we said, hey, we want to order some breakfast, and we're going to go because we're going to take it out to the pool. She goes, oh, trying to work the system. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, hold on.
What system?
Like, yeah, like, I don't know. I said, I know, I'm just trying to get some breakfast for my wife, and we're going to eat it at the pool. And she goes, well, I don't know if I can do that. I can check, but that's against the rules. Can't do it. And she changed her mind. And I was like, fine, never mind. And walked away. But like, we left and we just got somewhere else. But I thought to myself, like, wait a second, you're at this resort, and the whole idea of being at that resort is like we work really hard. We come down here and we want to relax and we want to have some great service, and you just denied us of that service. And you should have, as a bartender, you should have said to yourself, okay, look, told us, say, fine, you know what, this is against the rules, but guess what? I'm going to take care of you. I'll make it happen. Whatever you want, I'll get it done. You know why? Because we would have been happy. We would have actually tipped her like really well and said thank you, and we would have been best friends. But instead, and I thought about this too, like I almost wanted to tell her, I almost wanted to like say more, because she's the shittiest employee.
You should have Karen'd her.
Well, I got a question.
Well, I know where your head's at, and I'm about to say it to him as soon as he's done. Is what if you were eating? She broke the rules for you, and you were out there eating, and then a bunch of other people saw you eating by the pool, and then they came in and were like, "Well, I want to eat by the pool."
No, did they have signs at the pool that said you can't have breakfast out here? Did they have signs up? Did they tell you?
No.
Okay, that's our thing, because
why couldn't you have the breakfast?
Why my whole thing with why I enforce the rules, like, we have the sign right here with customer property. We sent you an email that you had to sign and acknowledge. You had to literally write back like, yes, I read this and I understand that I'm responsible. So then why, when 10 shirts get messed up because of whatever it might have been, why now are you feeling entitled that, like, yeah, your rules are your rules and I understood them and signed off of them, but it doesn't matter to me. You got to replace my 10 shirts and reprint my 10 shirts and do my job.
So we're educating the customer, but did they educate you on why you couldn't have breakfast, basically?
You know what I'm saying? That's why I get frustrated and mad, because like we did this and the policy is in place to protect our business and our hour and a half to 2 hours or whatever it might be to redo that job, what we don't have right now. Like, it's different when you're smaller and you don't have no jobs tomorrow. So like, sure, we'll order those 10 shirts and
they're tough decisions.
Take care of you. But like you said, I would have exactly felt how you said, like, there's no,
these are tough decisions we have to make as business owners, because, we want to decide. I think you have to decide if you're a customer service company that happens to print t-shirts. They're a hotel, they're a lodging company or whatever that happens. Sorry, they're a customer service company that happens to have a fucking hotel. Like, you have to take care of your customer. And you're right. There comes a point where that customer is just outrageous and their demands are, consistently too much. And you have to say, this isn't a good fit anymore. That's true. And I'm not saying, I think you're both right. I think that Chris is right in that he's trying to take care of a customer. He's trying to make that fucking customer happy because he understands that that's a customer service company and you guys happen to print t-shirts. But Adam, you're also right. Because there comes a point where you have to put your foot down and say, wait, we're starting to lose money on this shit too much. And this particular customer, they don't appreciate it. So we got to.
But if they had educated you on why you couldn't have breakfast, and then, like, we educate the customer why they can't get what they're asking, why they can't print this on a shirt or do that. We educate the customer.
Then if you walked into that pool and you saw a big 8-foot sign that said you cannot eat breakfast out here from the restaurant next door, even though we own it and it's all in the same resort, you can't do it. And then you walked into the restaurant and big on the top of the menu, it says you cannot get this to go to take it outside. I don't think you're the type of dude that would be like, well, just let me get my breakfast to go so I can take it outside. And why the fuck can't I? You're an asshole.
Yeah, I'm not going around trying to break rules and cause problems.
You know what I'm saying? Fights. No, that's where the frustration lies on us, because now he's even starting to see it now, and it's good that it's like, yeah, yes, we might be a customer service business that also prints shirts, but the customer is not always right.
And
that's
also,
the perfect way to end that.
Yeah,
the customer is not always right. Let's leave it there. I understand. We all get it.
Why do you think it is that everyone wears a t-shirt every day, but why do you think it is that no one knows still what goes into making it? Like, the education is like, if you stop someone walking down the street and ask them like how their shirt is printed, what method, they have no education, but yet you probably own 50 of them.
I think you can say that thing for a lot of things though. Like, I don't know how half the shit is made. I just
people don't know how to spend it or save it, but they use it every day.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. True. Okay.
Well, are you guys ready for quick takes? We'll try to do some lighthearted quick takes to get you guys back into the zen before you go home.
I have no zen.
Yeah, there's no zen.
I have no zen.
He's going.
That's what happens for being a printer for so long. You have no zen.
We're all just fucking bitter.
My zen comes from smoking. I'm good after I smoke.
He's like, I'm ready to do that now.
Yep.
All right, Andy,
guys,
take it away.
What is one thing you need every day?
A blunt.
Not just one, probably 10. then you might be okay.
Yeah.
Red Bull probably.
Are you one of those guys that drinks Monster or Red Bull just like regularly?
I quit for the longest time. I quit for like a year.
We both have it. Then we both
now I'm back on it. We have a little beer distributor like next door, and like we just walk across the street like 3-4 times a day and get a Red Bull or whatever. It's a terrible habit.
Luckily,
I hate this stuff. I can't drink that stuff, but I know people that just buy cases of it and they just drink it like their regular drink throughout.
Oh, it tastes horrible. It tastes horrible. I need some kind of caffeine or some kind of energy, something.
All right. So we got blunts and Red Bull. Favorite snack? Blunts and Red Bull.
Favorite snack? I get one every day. Slim Jim. Every day.
The regular one or what flavor?
Yeah, just the regular one.
Regular. That's good.
It's right next to the counter, right at the beer distributor. It's so easy. I'm in and out like 10 seconds. She knows what I want every time.
Red Bull and a Slim Jim.
Yep.
I like tasty cake fudge bars, or if it's just like candy, I like the little trolley sour snake things.
Sour snakes?
Yeah. Or sour Skittles. They're my
dude. Sour Skittles destroy your mouth.
They're so good.
You mean Skittles?
Skittles.
So next episode we
the
recorded
one that comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, the one that comes out tomorrow. We recorded with Floodway, and he had sent us a few days before a couple of snacks, and one of them was freeze dried Skittles. And they were called
amazing.
They're not called Skittles. They're called
Fritos, but I kept calling them Skittles. They're really good though. They're just
like dust.
They're like crunchy Skittles.
It's very good.
They are good. I like them a lot. I kept them here. All right.
Where is your happy place?
My happy place is Amsterdam. I've been going for like 12 years. I love it.
Yeah, the one who needs a blunt every day.
Every day. That's my mental reset though. I just go, that's just what I do. I go right to the coffee shops all day. Love it. Happy as can be.
Mine's probably at home on my couch.
Sleeping.
Yeah, taking a nap, power nap.
Power nap's not a bad.
The couch is a good spot.
Yeah.
I have to agree.
What shows are you guys watching right now?
Chicago PD, we both watch that. Ozark.
Snowfall.
Did you finish Ozark?
Well, it's not done yet.
Well, I mean, did you finish what's out?
No, I think I have 2 episodes left of what's left right now.
Okay.
I'm trying to take it slow because then I'll go through withdrawal if I don't.
Yeah.
The new one will come out. What's it coming out in end of April or I might be totally wrong on that. I feel like it's
one of our buddies does all the scouting for Ozark.
Oh, really?
The location scouting. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was hoping you were going to say Severance.
Never seen it.
He actually does it for a lot of shows.
I don't even know what that show is, but I know Chad doesn't like it.
I was going to say, did you get the text from Chad?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about fucking Severance anymore.
2 autos or 10 autos?
2. Max 3.
I'm waiting for the different answer.
I would do 10 if we could find employees, but yeah, 2 is good.
3 is probably the most I want to go.
Yeah.
Right.
We offer too many other things besides screen printing. We offer, stickers, DTG, embroidery. We just got the laser. Like we've diversified too much. We either have to cut out all that and go more autos, but I'd rather offer the other things because it's like an add-on service to.
If we had 10 autos, it would be a completely different company. We'd have to switch everything. Like we have one sales guy that he handles a lot of surf shops and bars and breweries and shit like that. And then we have all of our clients that we've built over just word of mouth, where if we had 10 autos, it would need to be like a couple sales dude going for those 10,000 shirt, 1-2 color, huge corporate, easy, keep people busy Like right now, like he said, there's no way that we could maintain a dude that needs embroidery on the front, DTG on the back, inner tags, folding bag.
You'd have to simplify what you're offering.
Yeah, we need to
Too many
simplify if we wanted to go
departments.
bigger on all
Yeah,
those.
there's no way.
All right, Andy. I'm telling. I say this every time, but we need to figure out a different question for this because.
Well, you don't have to say it like that. That's code for whatever you want to say.
Okay. Do you guys believe in like aliens, Sasquatch, Chupacabra, any of that?
No.
Or do you want to? You're the one that fucking smokes like 5 blunts a day. You should be like, yeah, aliens are on my skin.
No, I'm definitely not one of those guys. I mean, I'm sure there's aliens out there because I definitely know, like, we're definitely not the only.
Yeah, we're definitely not
in the
alone.
universe, and we're definitely not the only beings, I guess. But I'm not like one of those guys that's like,
I mean, we're not
man,
storming
there's
Area
lizard
51 to get the
people
truth.
and, yeah, like you know,
All right. Put me down like that. I get it.
I don't know about Sasquatch. That you're going to tell me about that.
Yeah,
Are they
I
real?
don't know if that's
It's
real.
just me. I just have to shave my face.
That's what I
right?
thought. That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
You just wear the
All right,
suit,
Andy.
bro.
When we were away, Joanne was flipping through the channels and there was some ghost show on. And these guys go, they have this box or whatever that's supposedly really haunted. And this one dude is really good at, I don't know, seeing spirits or something. And so they go, okay, you go down in the basement. And we have cameras set up. Go down in the basement, open up the box, and then see what happens. I'm like, first of all, fuck that. I'm not doing that. But this guy does. He goes down in the basement, opens up the box, and then he goes over and do it and faces the wall and starts reciting this long, I don't know, poem or something like that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is so like set up, you know, like he just memorized a poem, and then he went and walked over and what was that? Blair Witch, you know,
Blair
when,
Witch.
like,
He's
they're standing
the lady
in the corner. Yeah. And so he's just pulling this bullshit. I was like, this seems so, and the guys were like, oh my God, he's he's reading this poem or whatever. I'm like, yeah. So I don't know. Like,
He's like Little Miss Muffet sat on top.
I mean, there's probably ghosts and stuff. I mean,
yeah. Well, I'm not saying I to be clear, like I believe in energies and all this sort of thing.
100%.
And maybe there are spirits that are stuck. Sure. Cool. But the way this TV show goes, it's just total bullshit.
Yeah, those are all fake.
All those shows are like that at this point.
I mean, growing up, I had a family in our neighborhood that they lived in their house their whole life, and they had footprints on the ceiling in the bedroom and a butcher knife through the ceiling all the way.
They're just
through the
kinky
roof.
parents, is all.
And like it's just like shit like that where you're like, obviously no one was up on a 15-foot ceiling with boots. Like, you know, I've known the family my whole life. None of them did it, but you know, shit like that happens. It's whatever. It's not like
Just like
something
carpenter stepping on the drywall before he
shit.
put it
But
there.
like, yeah, I'm sure there's
Could
some
be, yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
There's an answer for everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Andy.
All right. What's for dinner?
I don't even know.
I have no kitchen, so takeout. I don't know what it's going to be, but I literally have no kitchen. I got 2 pipes coming through the floor for the hot and cold water right now. And that's
How
it.
much longer is it
Inside out.
before you have one?
The cabinets come Tuesday, and as fast as I can build after that. So I don't know. Maybe we.
Not a good time to have this happen because with all the supply issues and everything like that, I mean, I can imagine it just took longer.
So the flood happened
We'll get
a
whole
year ago,
podcast out of this.
and we hired contractors, and didn't really work out. So we kind of like got one room done through the contractors, fired them, and then have just gone solo through every other room of the house.
That's rough. I know what that's like. I like the contractors.
The contractor we had, like,
Well, if you get a good contractor, that's actually what they do. Yeah, but when you get the guy that doesn't do anything and just outsources,
yeah, everything
to
was
100
subbed out,
people,
and it was like,
yeah.
you know,
Just
the
a-
quality was just all over the place, and it like wasn't. Now the final product came out great, but it was like too many things having to be redone because he wasn't on site and he was subbing everything out.
you got no accountability when you do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Andy, what are you eating for dinner?
what am I having? I went to Trader Joe's earlier, got a bunch of good stuff. Whatever she wants. I don't know. We'll get back there and pick something. I was going to say, thanks for sharing your story. Thanks for stressing me out. And no, there was good stuff. I think that was I hope I don't know. It was really good to hear that you guys have problems just like we have problems, and so
everybody has these
I
problems.
think-
Everyone
I
who
think you
listens
may-
to this episode is going to fucking.
Well,
throw
the
their phone.
takeaway from all of this is that if you learn to say no, you're going to grow your business faster because you're going to take on the easier clients that are, learn to say no to the stupid stuff.
It's not
Just say
even
no.
easier. It's just
There you go.
saying no to the things that don't fit your model or don't
Right,
fit
exactly,
your
that
shop
don't
or
make
fit your
sense.
flow.
That's
It's
why
like-
I think the best thing about your guys' podcast is a lot of printers are hard-headed and want to learn on their own. But then when you listen to other people, you realize like, damn, when they did get their dryer, that was the first thing ever. When they did get their auto, that was game changer. And they said they should have did it 2 years earlier, or whatever it might be. Like that was like for us when we went to ISS.
Helps them
and
make that
finally
decision.
Took some of the,
Right.
the classes, and we had a dude come in and consult with us. Like if you're able to afford it, have somebody come in and consult with you for a few days on anything that you need help with. If you're able to, send your employees to any of the conferences and workshops, whether it's ISS or any of the other trade shows, because it helps them. They only need to go once, but it helps. It makes a huge difference. They'll learn shit that
Seeing
you
an
didn't
outside
teach
perspective,
them.
Yeah.
Like learning other people's stuff. And that's why I think people listening to your podcast, especially me, when he told me about it a while back, I started watching all of them, is I learned from so many people, whether they're in a garage or they have 15 autos and
There's a takeaway from all of it, no
you
matter
learn
where they're
from
at.
Every episode you learn something, and
I agree.
You guys are print therapists, basically.
Yeah, everybody
what
has
I
the
say.
same problem.
That's what
That's what I
call
say
it.
straight up. Is like these Sundays are like my
Therapy. Yeah.
therapy session for my profession.
Yeah.
Like especially this one. This one I feel like was an actual like we owe each other each like $100. I feel like.
Pass it around.
It's just so funny how like you said, me and you are the same, and him and Andy are the same, and it's just so laughable. That's half the time when I'm watching, I'm just laughing at you guys going back and forth. I'm like, that's me and fucking Chris.
Well, thanks for taking time out of your Sunday, guys, and hanging out with this therapy session. Let's meet
Yeah,
again
thanks
next
for having us.
Thanks for
Tuesday.
having us. Yeah, definitely.
We'll do not couple session next time. We'll do individuals, and then we'll come back and we'll see what the root of our problems are.
Sounds perfect.
Cool. And I'd love to visit both of your shops.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not even that
Anytime,
far
yeah.
away, so
No, you're not.
I'm down to travel, so I just gotta.
That's
Once
we get-
GraphX is
once we
set
get
up, I'm
GraphX,
traveling.
That's what I want. I want
You guys can put me to work. You can put me on a press. I'll hang out.
we can just play like Mortal Kombat or something and get pizza.
Well, that too. We could do that.
On that note, bye guys. We'll see you later.
See ya.
Uh,
Later.